purging is at last at hand. The day of doom is here. All that is evil, all that are lies, your parents, your leaders, those who would call themselves your judges, those who have lied and corrupted the earth, they shall all be cleansed.
All right, Sir Kenaz is here, so we can just get started immediately. Request to speak approved. Sir Kenaz, you should be able to speak. Give it a few moments.
Welcome to World War III, everybody.
Not quite a world war yet, but definitely the global implications are being felt. But don't worry, Sir Kenaz, it'll be over by September. Iran will surrender entirely.
Well, if it's going to be over by September, this must be late August, because I was told it's going to be over in 5 days. 5 days, and we say 5 days, we mean no more than a couple of weeks. Couple of months, we're going to have this settled out. Don't worry, this is not going to take more than a year.
Sir Kenaz, come on. Obviously, it's only going to take 6 weeks to get air supremacy over all of Iran. That's what Hexet said. And we all know that Hexet always speaks the truth.
The great Hexet had the word kafar tattooed on him in Arabic.
Yes.
What he didn't realize is if you're a Melkite or a Maronite Christian, the word for heretic among Arab Christians is kafar. Incidentally, I've been to a Maronite mass, like they refer to God as Allah. So,
yeah.
But it was like, congratulations, you've just declared to like something like 10% of the Arab population that you're a heretic.
Sir Kenaz, all of that is irrelevant. Yeah, but all of that's irrelevant, Sir Kenaz. Iran's going to surrender any second now, right? Iran's going to surrender, sure. and America's going to get all the oil. And next up is Russia. There you go, Sir Kenaz.
Next up is Russia. Yeah, that's going to be a long weekend. Yep.
But I saw one of these Goyim posts. It was like one of these like really sloppy things. I actually thought it was AI generated for a second, right? But it was like 10 paragraphs or so on Zitter, so no one's going to read the entire thing, right? And he's like, here's Trump's 12D Grandmaster Plan. Venezuela, check. Iran, check. And then Russia, and then like, here's the 12D chess on how to break up BRICS. And I'm like, dude, if you look at this operation, man, like, okay, America has, 200 fighter aircraft. I'm gonna say like the Israelis have another 200 fighter aircraft, something. Right, the UAVs, right, for both sides, that's like another 100, 200. Like if you add everything up, it's like 600 something aircraft. That's like 1/4 the air power in terms of volume, firepower, and mass compared to the first Gulf War, right? Okay, let's fight a country 4 times larger than Iraq, and compared to like 1991, probably has 5 times more population. And what are we going to do against this country? We are going to use 1/4 the air power, and I'm going to say like less than 1/3 the sea power. And oh, by the way, there's no ground force, Sir Kenaz. Don't worry, right? The Kurds will obviously fight, even though they got their ass handed to them in like Syria.
There's some talk that there was a Delta Force team got dropped to try to take out like a nuclear site in Iran. The entire platoon is either dead, wounded, or in captivity.
Possible, but obviously only 6 people died. Sir Kenaz, only 6 people died. Come on, you can't believe in this stuff.
Well, I mean, I think it's abundantly clear. I saw the posting on Indeed. I should note to all our listeners, I do not know whether this post was actually made by a defense organization or by a troll pretending to be a defense organization. But, we need people on Dover Air Force Base to sort out the belongings of soldiers that are no longer with us urgently and quickly. Now, unless you got an awful lot of dead soldiers, you don't really need to hire a few dozen people to sort through things.
But I was told only 6 people died, Sir Kinaz.
Yeah, no,
So
I mean,
obviously,
again, I've been told a lot of things. It's very clear that, our PR, like the military PR teams are lying to us. I mean, it's absolutely clear. There's no way that we went through this level of bombing and were able to, what happened on those bases, unless all those bases were completely deserted, there were heavy casualties.
Sir Kinaz, relax. Relax, Sir Kinaz. Even though every American base was hit by missiles and drones several dozens of times each, I was told by a reliable source, right, that 90+% of the time missiles miss. So the 6 soldiers that got blown to bits in Kuwait, those are the only casualties. Don't worry, Sir Kinaz. Everything's fine. Trust the plan. Patriots in control.
Yeah. No, I mean, I see the, I see the responses to what's going on. I mean, I see the MAGA team and I see the Trump cheerleaders that are convinced, we are going to make total victory over Iran. We're going to have, we've blown everything up from all over the place. Iran has no boats. Iran has no military. Iran has no missiles left. It's like, well, what are they slinging at Israel then? Like, are those slingshots? Are they like fireworks? Where, they're all their missile bases have been gone, but they keep launching missiles.
Sir Kinaz, don't worry. Don't worry, Sir Kinaz. America's finest, America's 200 aircraft and the Israelis, they're going to hunt down all the drones. And don't worry, the drones are going to be hit on the ground before they take off. And don't worry, obviously, it's not going to be like a painting of a drone or a decoy or whatever, right? And eventually all the drones will be destroyed.
Paintings. Yeah, they've hit several paintings.
And they post it. And they post it on Twitter. But don't worry about that, Sir Kenneth. Listen. Here's the plan, right? All the drones are going to be taken out on the ground, right? And then all the launchers, aka every civilian box truck in Iran, which can be modified in 3 days to become a launcher, also all of that's going to be taken out. And what's it going to be taken out by? Oh, I don't know. The total explosive yield that America has available to it, it's roughly 10% that used in like Baghdad, like Iraq rather, 2003, 2011. Don't worry, Sir Kinaz. It's gonna use 10% of that explosive power against a country 4 times bigger in surface area. All the drones will be taken out on the ground, and oh, by the way, Tehran will be leveled with that same level of explosive yield. Trust the plan. Patriots in control.
Trust. I've been trusting the plan so much, I'm starting to look for reasons to doubt it, I mean, I've done so much plan trusting here. I've been doing so much winning. I'm kind of hoping we get a loss in lately, and Sir Arnav is with us.
Sir Arnav,
how are you guys enjoying the war? How are you guys enjoying the war?
I am enjoying the way in which all of the illiterates who cannot do basic mathematics about like volume, firepower, explosive yield, etc., are running their mouths about how any day now they're going to win. That's what I'm enjoying, right? It's like
one thing
it's like watching a guy. It's like watching a guy take like an egg, right? Take like an egg from the supermarket, and he's telling you, "I'm going to smash it on that rock," and you tell him, "Okay, but you don't have enough kinetic force to bust open the rock. It's a freaking egg, bro." Right? And he's like, "No, man, look, watch this, bro. If I hit the freaking rock with this egg, it's gonna crack wide open. The rock is gonna totally surrender." Right? Which is what I'm seeing right now, man. Like this is freaking ridiculous, man. Like what is?
Well, thanks to you, sir, enough. Like you have converted one illiterate to a semi-literate or somewhat literate person on this. So thank you for all your guidance in the chat about this.
I didn't do any guidance, bro. Like what I did was I looked at publicly available data that we have for Korea, Vietnam, First Gulf War, Second Gulf War, and Afghanistan. And I asked some basic questions. I'm like, okay, well, how much explosive yield was available to the American side and the opponent side, right? Number one question. Second question, how many grams per meter square of explosive was being used by both sides? And the last question was, how many grams per meter square of explosive yield was used daily by each side, right? You can run the math. It's high school math, bro. Like you can tweak the assumptions a bit. You can be like, okay, well, assume that.
But sir, enough. You are speaking as if this was easy. If this was easy, which looking at the comments and the reactions, I don't think so. It's easy for most people.
It's extremely easy. The reason they don't do it, is because they're lazy, right? Or they don't or they don't have the acumen, or they've got some other thing, like whether it's agenda or ideology or whatever. I mean, some of
Or
them they
they're
don't
waiting for
even
the
want to do it.
edits. The edits, like they just want to see the cool edits, and like they think the war is done by that. Like war is over
I mean,
by that itself.
yeah, exactly. Like just to give you an idea, right? Right? Okay, so Korean War, right? Which is like 1950 to 1953, right? The Americans expended how many? Let me see. Actually, let me pull it up. Korean War, because like I took an entire day just to make up all these tables and charts, just to make sure that all my numbers are working or what have you, right? I can also give you the World War I and World War II numbers, by the way. Yeah, Korean War. Okay, 670 kilotons. Actually, Vietnam is 7,600 kilotons. That's the highest. So Vietnam, 7,600 kilotons, roughly speaking. So between 7,000 to 8,000, something like that. I took like a rough mean. 7,600 divided by 15. Yeah, so basically over I would say 20-year period, the Americans dropped the equivalent of more than 500 Hiroshima bombs on Vietnam, right? Okay? All right, gentlemen. Vietnam, by the way, just so you know what we're talking about, it was primarily North Vietnam. It wasn't South Vietnam, who was the American ally. All right, gentlemen, let me ask you a question. North Vietnam, right? North Vietnam, not South Vietnam. Compared to Iran, what is the surface area of North Vietnam? Anybody want to guess? We're talking about
They
North
were
Vietnam.
saying it was 60,000 square miles, around 61,000 square
Bingo.
miles.
Correct. Okay, so basically, North Vietnam was roughly 10%, all right? 10% the surface area of Iran, right? So, all right, let's do some high school math. 10% times 10, 100%, all right? So, 7,600. So basically, you would have to do 76,000, right? 76,000. So basically 76 megatons. By the way, like this number that I'm giving you, it's a ridiculous number, right? If you exploded every atomic bomb available to every nuclear power on the planet, right? You would get like 1,300,000, something like that, right? Like 76,000, you're not getting that number unless you bust out the nukes, right? We both know, like all of us here rather know that America's not going to use nukes. If there is going to be nuclear use, it's probably going to be the Israelis, right? But the reason the Americans are not going to use the nukes is because, again, if they fire, then the Russians don't know what is the nuke for. Like, okay, a Minuteman III got launched. Is it towards Iran or is it towards us? We don't know. Therefore, we have to launch. But anyhow, okay, 76,000 kilotons, 76 megatons. If you gents want to know what that is roughly 5,000 plus Hiroshima bombs. All right. Sir Sir Ornov, 76,000. And now we come back to what does America and Israel actually have in theater with regard to explosive power once you add up all of their conventional munitions. Everything. So like all the freaking Tomahawks, all of the other cruise missile things that they're shooting, which they're running low on, all this other stuff, right? How much do they actually have, right? The quote unquote required number to devastate Iran is like 76,000. So if you wanted to devastate Iran, similar to how Vietnam was devastated, right? 76,000. How much does America and Israel have?
A lot less than 76,000.
Less than 5.
Okay,
Less
well,
than 5 kilotons. Yeah. So this is what they tell you to take seriously, right? Like this is just okay. Well, we are gonna destroy this enormous country, and what do we have? Well, we don't have Vietnam levels of destruction. We have like 3 orders of magnitude or more. Sorry, 3 orders of magnitude or less overall explosive power compared to what we used against Vietnam. And oh, by the way, guys, we want you to take us seriously. That's what we're dealing with, man. I mean, you just laugh at this crap. Uh,
One
you
thing, so enough,
yeah,
like in this, I've like you talk to normal people, not to like people in this circle or whatever, but like you talk to
yeah,
actual normal people. People don't realize that if we consider the utopian version of the American and the Israel position here,
yeah.
even if you create regime chaos, you destroy the regime, whatever.
Hmm.
The only benefit you get by destroying the regime or by creating a chaos in the country is if they willingly give you everything what they want.
Hmm.
And even if that happens, Iran is not going to give anything that what American Israel wants. This is something that most people don't understand. They think that, oh, we toppled the regime and now these people will be like our slaves. And it's like, no, it's like I mean, I don't
You
understand
are
how to
gonna
explain
be
this to people.
the hilarious thing is that the opposite is more likely to be true. It's more likely that America unconditionally surrenders to Iran, especially if the oil hits $200 a barrel and
Oh yeah,
stays
yeah, yeah.
there or higher,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? But like that's where things are at. You
okay.
gentlemen continue. You gentlemen continue. I'm just gonna have to take care of something. I'll be back in a jiffy. All right.
Two problems I'm seeing here is that one is despite dropping all of that megatonnage of explosives onto North Vietnam still won that war. So, there's not even a guarantee here that if you had those kind of explosives, you were going to win Iran. Iran is, if anything, a more challenging terrain to work in than the Vietnamese jungles. You know, and
Oh, 100%, 100%.
so
So,
it's like,
finance. Sorry.
but five,
I just like
go ahead, Sarana.
one. What I was saying is that Ziaul Haq, who was the president or prime minister of Pakistan, against India, he had released a military doctrine after losing the 1971 war, in which he said that the title of that doctrine was "Death by Thousand Cuts." They like smaller power understands that we cannot just on a man-to-man sort of combat or sort of like that direct combat. You can't win. You win by taking the losses in and by counter striking. And it is like from a very sort of civilian's point of view, this is what I think so Iran is doing. This is what maybe Vietnam did. That you once you understand that you can't sort of be toe to toe with these people in terms of ammo and whatever, you can bleed these people out by attrition. This is what their drones, Iranian drones, have done. That even if they intercept everything, Iran has just spent 50 to 100 million dollars, whereas the interceptors that are destroyed by those drones are worth billions. And if you drag this out, ultimately Iran is going to win.
Oh yeah, no, Iran, I think America and Israel were counting on the idea that they were going to have such an awesome shock and awe that within the first couple days, Iran would roll over and surrender. And to anybody who has been reading this stuff, anybody who has been, scanning sources on the internet would know that this was never going to be a 6-day war or a 5-day war or like even a 2-week war. that information was plainly out there. There were, Anaf and I weren't the only people saying this. I mean, there was a pretty widespread understanding that a war with Iran will be a serious undertaking. There is a guarantee there will be heavy casualties on both sides. There is no guarantee that the United States would come out on top. And in fact, we were the underdog in the battle.
I'm actually going to quibble with what Sir Ornov says, because I think you're correct in one sense, but wrong in another sense. I'll explain to you what I mean by that. The Iranians themselves, they view this as an existential fight. So everything that you said about, okay, smaller power defeating the bigger power, all of that's true. The Iranian generals, the IRGC, all of them believe that, right? They're like, okay, well, we need to hit America where it hurts. We got to cut off the energy. We got to hit the Gulf states, destroy global trade, destroy the alliance structure, and we got to, fire off our older missiles, then use our drones, eat up the interceptors, and then finish them off with the bigger missiles and keep on hitting them with the drones and killing them, right? The thing is, right, Iran believes all of that, and Iran is behaving like that, death via thousand cuts. What they don't realize, what Iran doesn't realize, is that America has a glass jaw, right? Like, America is not a country which, okay, well, 5 months from now, 2 million people are going to show up to attack Iran. It does not have that ability. Sir Malcolm wrote an essay a while ago, I think it was I forget the exact title. It was one of these essays on Unheard, but he talked about how even if the willpower existed inside America for okay, well, we are all a bunch of jingoistic nationalists now, and we want to kill everyone around the world. Let's do a draft. Even if that were true, the infrastructure has corroded away so much, and the bureaucracy is such a complete clusterfuck that they would not be able to do so, right? Well, the example he gave was, I think, Prussia for wartime mobilization against France, right? Where it had access to all these timetables, all these charts, all the different okay, well, here are the addresses that you call the guy up from, and here's his information, and this, that, and the other thing, and here's how we can get our 1,000,000-man army or whatever. America doesn't have that, bro. Most of these okay, well, this guy's name is on the reserve thing or whatever. Okay, you call the number and it's an address he lived 7 years ago, right? And now multiply that by hundreds of thousands, right? So the thing you're saying about great power and smaller power, yes, you're correct. The Iranians themselves believe that, right? But the Americans aren't a great power, man. The Americans are not a superpower. I'm sorry, but this.
Again, sir, enough.
Yeah.
Everything you have said, I know this, but as I've said, this
Yeah.
you have to explain to normies, right?
Yeah.
As I said in the group, the tech fetish is on the other level. I've been having this discussion with my father. He's like, how could the Iranians have such less defense where they could take away the
I don't know what
I don't know what
he's talking. Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about. The Iranians are up against.
I'm just saying that is just how
Yeah.
normal people understand warfare. It's you have to explain this to them.
Oh yeah.
What you are saying about what America, I know that, but as you know, we may get that. Normal people will get that in 1 month's time. That America is not a great power.
The thing
But
with normal people,
it's still a way.
Yeah. The thing with the normies is that they still treat warfare like magic, right? They think nuclear weapons are magic. They think jet aircraft are magic. I'm saying it's all mathematics. Everything is mathematics. It's not this isn't
100%.
It's not it's not like magic. It's just you gotta do mathematics, right? Okay, well, I have this many aircraft. Okay, great. What is the, cubic footage of logistics, manpower, munitions, etc. you need to sustain the aircraft? Okay, this much. All right. How much ammo, manpower, logistics do you have? Okay, this much. All right. Then you can start running the numbers. You can be all right, let's assume a few cases. All right, case 1, low fire. Case 2, medium. Case 3, high fire. All right, how many days can you continue this? Right? I'm not doing freaking magic, bro. I'm doing mathematics. I can model, right, how long the offensive is going to last. And I can tell you right now, right, unless the Americans move more stuff in, right, and move in substantial amounts of stuff, they don't have enough firepower, ammo, manpower, logistics, etc., to continue this for more than a year, right? And here's the hilarious thing. Right? they are already losing like 1 or 2 fighter jets a day, right? Now, obviously, Sirkin has, don't worry about it. Iran's going to lose it by September. And all of this is friendly fire. Obviously, the Iranians aren't shooting the jets down, whatever, like all of that. But like, okay, so you're losing 1 jet a day. You started off the fight with like 200 something UAVs, the unmanned stuff, and you're losing like 5 or 10 of those a day. Like, this is a basket case, man. I'm sorry, but like in Vietnam, the daily attrition rate was 0.05%. Right now, you're suffering like 0.25, 0.5% or higher daily attrition rate. This is a complete clusterfuck, man. You're not gonna make it. You're not gonna make it, especially if I think Trump is dumb enough to tell the military that, okay, well, oh, you ran out of standoff munitions? Don't worry. Go over Iranian airspace rather than like flying over Syrian or Iraqi airspace and firing the cruise missiles. Go over Iranian airspace and then drop the gravity bombs. Wait till you see what the casualties are with regard to like equipment once you get there, right? But that's where things are at. I mean, people aren't gonna figure it out, Soronov. Like I said, the normies are still gonna treat things like magic. But in order for them to understand that it's not magic, it's mathematics, sometimes, show is better than tell, as I like to say, right? Like, there was that video footage of, like, the 3 fighter jets in Kuwait being shot down or whatever. Like, just show that to people and be like, okay, this is the so-called invincible American military that you guys all love, right? So,
I mean, the problem we're going to start running into is we've pointed this out on several episodes, is we don't have replacement material in place to, like, okay, we've had like these jets have been shot down, we got to call the jet factory, tell them to speed up production.
that's
That's
basically
not
what Trump
there.
is doing. Trump called all the CEOs. Sir Kenas, like on day 4, I think, day 4 or day 3. Trump called all the CEOs, and that's literally what he did. He's like, "Oh, we're running short of interceptors. You CEOs better give us more." And he's like, "Okay, but we don't produce that much, right?"
Yeah, I mean, I think there's this idea.
Yeah.
What was it, like the guy who came up with this? I remember forwarding it to our group.
Yeah.
Was this whole story about, well, they're going to use electronic warfare to jam everything, then they're going to bring these AI powered robots. It was just like,
Slop. It's just pure slop, basically.
yeah,
Pure slop yeah.
pure
Pure
slop.
pure slop written by someone who doesn't know that the coastal batteries and the artillery systems don't need electronic guidance, bros. They're manual systems. They're just old-fashioned weapons, bro. Like, Iran is not using magic to defeat you. Iran is using cheap, reliable, and easy to make weaponry. I'll give you another example. Oh my gosh, like this guy, I love picking on him, right? Because it's a guy on Twitter. I think he also has a Substack. His name is Policy Tensor, right? But at the beginning of the war, he was saying such retarded crap, right? He's like, okay, well, this is a race between how much damage Iran can do with its drones and missiles, eating up the interceptors of the Americans and whatever, and America and Israel have to shoot down these things, and not only that, they gotta kill all the launchers, right? And I read that word that he used, launcher, and I just laughed so loud. I'm like, dude, do you know what a launcher is, man? You're using this word. You're using that English word. Do you know what that English word launcher means, right? A launcher is a civilian box truck that the Iranians modded in less than a week. Okay? It's not like, oh, the super duper, magical high tech equipment they took 5 years to build. No, dude, they took a civilian box truck. There's hundreds and thousands of them all across the Iranian countryside, 1.6 million plus square kilometers. They went across the place. They modified a couple of the civilian stuff into military. That's what you're dealing with. It's like, okay, well, we're going to use up what scarce standoff munitions we've got, and we're just going to kill the launcher. Okay, dude, blow up a few box trucks, whatever. Yeah, hit a few decoys, hit a few of these, like, paintings and whatever, and, good luck. I don't know, like, but don't worry, Sirkin, by September, all of the civilian box trucks across all of Iran will be decimated, and Iran can no longer launch drones and missiles.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of
But the surprising thing is that these are gamers. Like, these people should know normal military stuff.
They don't.
Wouldn't they?
They don't.
Like the
They
one
don't.
thing good,
They
one
don't.
thing they do, they don't know.
They can do mathematics. They can do mathematics. It's not a skill issue, right? It's not like most of these people have high school mathematics. They do, right? It's not a skill issue. It's an issue of intuition, right? Like for example, if I start talking to you, like, okay, well, a human being needs this many hectares of land to live because he eats a certain diet every year and it takes this much, like let's say, you know, take some random person from a random country. Okay, well, the typical diet in this country is like this. Okay, so this much fish, this much chicken or whatever, right? Here's how much land he needs to sustain himself. Like ecological footprint, right? It's a very intuitive process. It's not like I'm not doing magic. I'm doing mathematics, right? But if you talk to people in this language, they'll be like, what are you talking about, man? I live in an apartment and I don't use 2 hectares of land or whatever. Look at this. I go to the grocery store and I just get all my food and I live in a cramped apartment. I'm like, dude, I'm not talking about you living in an apartment. I'm talking about the fact that when you go to a grocery store and you buy the bananas had to be transported from somewhere, and the plantation where the bananas were grown, well, here's how much surface area it occupies, this, that, and the other, right? And so people cannot, it's not a skill issue, like I said. They can't comprehend these things in the terms that you speak of, because the way that the world teaches them to think is just magical thinking, propaganda, ideology, this, that, and the other thing, man. So that's where things are at. Oh, Sir Meow Meow, I approve you. I don't know why it's not letting me. I don't know what's going on. Anyhow, good
Yeah.
I
stuff in
think we
Scotland, Tony.
I think
Go
we
ahead.
have to approach this from, like, you're talking about mathematics and rationale, which is to the Amerigroid thinking, is we need to approach this from, like, what we can just make up. What can we just think of? I watched the Hegseth 60 Minutes interview, and that was quite something to see. At the top, the highest levels of this government are
Yeah.
just making it up as they go.
Okay, we have the problem that we have an entire generation that, and I am not joking here, I'm being dead serious, learned everything they know about conflict from Marvel cape ship movies and Star Wars.
Yes.
That, I mean, you have people who saw Black Widow take out half a dozen Spetsnaz soldiers, and they sincerely believe that if you give like a woman the size of Scarlett Johansson enough, martial arts training, she will be able to take on 6 large trained soldiers.
Or that ground boots mean just two people, Tom Cruise and that other fucking guy in Top Gun 2. Like, yeah, they got dropped into Iran and got out somehow, but that's not how the real world works. But some Americans think, yeah, that's the real
For
world.
for Americans, Tom Cruise is their best soldier. Like, is their best pilot and whatever. Like in Tom Cruise's defense, like he knows to fly that stuff, but that again does not make him America's best pilot, which these people are hoping they're hoping all pins are hoped on that.
And even if I heard Larry Johnson on Judge Knapp yesterday saying, he had heard that American pilots are more fearful of flying over Kuwait now than they are flying over Iran, because the Kuwaitis got an itchy trigger finger with his air defense and they're shooting
Bro,
down.
Kuwait is the GOAT, man. Kuwait is like what, 3 kills in a single day? Kuwait, bro. It's not Iran. It's the mullah regime, man. They got nothing, man. Kuwait though, Kuwait shot down those 3 fighters, because obviously that's true. Obviously, only 6 people have died so far in, like, I don't know, the first 7, 8 days
Revenge
of
for first Gulf War, son of revenge for first Gulf War.
revenge for.
Yeah, well, we have air superiority over Iran now, according to a significant chunk of Twitter.
Yeah.
But yet, for some reason, we keep shooting outside of Iranian airspace.
Yeah.
I mean,
They haven't looked at that heat map of where the hits are actually occurring.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, they really, I mean, that's very sporting of us, don't you think? I mean, we could be flying over Iran doing all kinds of stuff, but instead we choose to leave their airspace clear.
Golly gee, Sir Kenneth, I wonder why that's the case.
When you listen to Hegseth speak, you really do get that sense of what Sir Kenneth is saying about like the movies and the Cape shit. The way he talks, it's not in a serious manner. Like this
Mhm.
man is like thinks he's an actor in a movie.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, and unfortunately, when your industry, when your military industry is run by people. I mean, it's fine if Americans can't tell the difference between reality and Cape shit. I mean, it's not fine, but for the purposes of running a war, you sort of want your soldiers and you certainly want their commanders to know the difference.
Sir Kenaz, obviously none of that's needed because the American military is omnipotent. All it has to do is have willpower and fighting spirit or whatever, and like whatever like Hex said talks about destroying the enemy, and any moment now Iran's gonna lose.
Yeah, we're just at the point in the storytelling like map where the hero is up the tree and people are throwing rocks at him. At that point, then we reach the point where the hero comes down, he beats the shit out of everybody, and we all live happily ever after, except for them damn Iranians.
I've been contrasting my experience with this war versus when the Americans invaded Iraq for the second time, and I just think about how they tried so much harder to make the lie seem believable about the yellow cake and going to the UN and like Scott Ritter talking about no, there are weapons inspections going on. Like this time it's just like no, these bad guys need to be killed and we're just going to do it in a week. Like they're trying. We used to have a real country down there.
Yeah, no,
I mean, it's a lunatic asylum right now, so I don't know. Maybe there was a quote unquote country, but now it's just detritus, right?
I mean, it's the kayfabe presidency. That's
Yeah.
one of the problems we have is Donald Trump thinks not in terms of how will this benefit the United States, but in what will this do for my ratings? Or even more precisely, will this cause people to pay attention to me? So we're now stuck in a situation where, you know, Mr. Trump has put us in this place where we are not really, where we don't where we're embroiled in a war we cannot win. I mean, there is no way. We don't have the troops for a ground invasion. Conscription after Vietnam, conscription is not an option.
Sir
I
Kenneth,
mean,
Sir Kenneth, I got some fake news from the evil Iranians. All right, Iranian armed forces claims in the past 24 hours, 220 plus U.S. casualties, 21 killed and many wounded from U.S. Fifth Fleet in Bahrain, around 200 killed or wounded at Al Dhafra Air Base, U.S.-owned oil tanker targeted in northern Persian Gulf. Obviously, these are all lies, Sir Kenaz. It's the evil Mullah regime, and only 6 people have died. Obviously, that's true.
yeah, I mean, I think the problem is they are going to try to continue that story, with that story. What happens when a ship gets sunk? What happens when there's some kind of real big casualty event that gets caught on video? On like what happens when you've got a few dozen American soldiers handcuffed on an Iranian patrol boat and they're like, to giving interviews that tell like with the Iranian people with an Iranian journalist saying, we're sorry we're here. Could you please come and get us back?
I
I
like
mean,
to think, yeah. I mean, what are the possibilities are endless as to what happens there. I mean, after that second Iraq war, Westboro Baptist Church emerged out of the sludge and like with their weirdness. So, what would we see if that did happen? I wonder.
well,
Mm,
my guess will be we will see at least a few people saying this never happened. It's clearly AI generated. That's going to be one. The other one is going to be that these soldiers are traitors because, they surrendered. There's going to be all kinds of gymnastics. The problem are those gymnastics are going to be played for the crowd, not for the crowd, for like the choir.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're going to be played for the MAGA fans will keep searching for any sludge that will get them into like, yeah, no, guys, this is true. We're really winning. We're winning. But the longer this goes on, the more people are just going to get disgusted and be like, I never wanted this war in the first place. This was a stupid war. Why are we here? And like, why do you keep covering up the casualties?
Sir Kenaz, come on. America's greatest ally, Israel, yearns for help. So obviously, Trump has to go in there and help them out. Who cares what the voters have to say?
Oh, that's given that Israel is now underwater in popularity in the United States for the first time since.
But they're God's chosen people, Sir Kenaz. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like what did Trump say?
Well,
what did Trump say? He said the
God's
polls
chosen
don't matter.
people are
I don't care about the polls. Yeah.
Yeah, God's chosen people is wonderful, but if a majority of the American people hate your guts, that really isn't going to carry a whole lot of weight. The observation I've always made about the Holy Land is it's always appeared that the people that were chosen to take that little stretch of land have been the people with the biggest army. Mm-hmm. God seems to favor like the stronger party. So it's in any event, there's the Israelis are losing the American people and they're losing the American ability to force project in the region and keep things in order. It doesn't matter what they think. It doesn't matter if they think they're God's chosen people. It doesn't matter if they pretend that to like for Mike Huckabee and the Rubes. Do God's chosen people have the ability to sell a draft to the United States population? I don't believe they do.
Sir Kenaz, here's why you're wrong. God's chosen people are the foundation of Western civilization. Newsmax itself told me Judaism, and then on top of that is Christ, and then on top of that is Christianity, and then on top of that is Western civilization. So obviously, for the foundations of your very civilization, the Goyim.
I had no idea the foundations of our civilization were pornography, sedition, and usury. Who knew? I mean, it does make a perverse sort of sense, I'd imagine. But, look, it's just like Israel is now like, you don't just need people to put boots on the ground. Let's be more specific here. You need young people with boots on the ground. You need men, around like the ages of 18 to 35.
We can't send the women over? I thought men and women are equal. We can't send the women over? What?
Well, I mean, you need, for any kind of a ground invasion, you are not going to have women in the front lines. If you do, you will quickly find out why you aren't going to have women on the front, shouldn't have women on the front lines.
Nah, Sir Kenneth, I think you're just being sexist.
I was surprised to see that one of those downed pilots was a woman.
Well, was she actually captured, or like, do we have like confirmation of that?
Yeah, no, the friendly Kuwaitis found her, and like she was good. They were like, "Oh, we'll help you." Yeah, so
yeah, interesting.
No, but I mean, it's like we don't have. Even if we put women in the field, we don't have 2 million 18 to 35-year-olds who are like enthusiastic about going to fight and die for Israel.
Does America have a mountaineering division that is useful?
Not to my knowledge. That's a good question, but I mean, I don't know how they plan to do a land invasion. My guess would be they'd try to do what they did in Iraq and in Afghanistan. You will create a small, you know, they'll create a small beachhead, probably along the Straits of Hormuz, try to control that and try to keep the Iranian troops out so they can keep the Hormuz open. I
From
don't
what I've
believe they
heard,
can do that.
so they don't actually have the manpower for that. So what I've heard from Scott Ritter, Lawrence Wilkerson, and a couple of the other guys is that what the military are considering is the Marines and doing like a amphibious landing on Chabahar port and other similar places, right? And doing so with a small contingent, right? Namely, okay, get behind enemy lines, grab something, or like hit their infrastructure and whatnot, and try to hold it for a bit of time, and then you kind of go from there, right? But basically, nothing long term or permanent or what have you. For that, you actually just need mass and volume, right? Which
Yeah,
does not
as of
exist.
late 2024-25, the USMC consists of approximately 168.5K to 172K active duty personnel. You can bring that up to between 200 and 215 when you include USMC reserves.
Okay.
200,000 people
Yeah.
might, okay, 200,000 active duty personnel. How many of them are combat personnel?
Probably half.
Okay, yeah, that might be maybe even a bit more because that the Marines tend to be a much more combat people. They were trying to bring it down to closer to 172,000 through restructuring. As of December 24, they may actually have more like 169.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's not enough to take and hold like a base on Iran, not
No,
in,
it's not.
in my estimation.
No,
I just don't think those numbers are there. I don't think that they're going to have a lot of luck rebuilding those bases now that Iran has made it.
Everyone who tries to invade Iran or tries to land amphibiously on Iran, it's the same issue. You're not dealing with guerrilla fighters. You're dealing with a modern industrial army which has firepower supremacy over you, right? He's going to pepper you with his drones. He's going to pepper you with his short range ballistic missiles, right? He's got his attack helicopters, right? So you're dealing with a matrix of threats. And oh, by the way, if you're trying to do the ground invasion, you got to go get to the Zagros Mountains. And modern landmines, yes, Iran has modern landmines because Iran is not a signatory to the Ottawa Treaty of 1997, where they tried to like get people to ban landmines. So Iran's got all the fun landmines up in the mountains in every fucking nook and cranny, along with all the other 3 or 4 things I told you that you're going to be dealing with. So, yeah, no, I mean, like, I ran the numbers for like casualty counts the other day, right? And I was sharing it on the Telegram group. And I can pull it up again if you gents wish for me to do so, right? But basically, what it comes down to is that there's no like physically feasible way to do this unless you want to take enormous casualties, like enormous. We're talking about, if you look at Korea, for example, right? Korea was the last quote unquote major war where like the American coalition, right? America and the UN and all those guys, they were taking like over 100 casualties a day, dead and wounded, right? So basically, like 130 a day roughly during the Korean War. So if you want to do some math for that, so let's say 120 divided by 4, 30. So 30 dead and roughly 90 wounded, like amputees and this, that, and the other thing every day, right? Now imagine you're doing this thing against Iran, you will easily have more than double, triple, or quadruple that number. So like over 100 dead, 300, 400 amputees, etc., right? Per day of attrition, right? And what else do we have to remember, right? The current contingent in CENTCOM is 40,000 or so, right? So even if you magically bring over your 2 million man army, that's the level of attrition you'll be dealing with at the bare minimum, namely almost an order of magnitude higher compared to like the Korean War stuff, right? But don't worry, Sir Kenaz, Iran will obviously be defeated by September because Trump said so. So there you go.
I mean, what's the claim they're making now? They're going to have unconditional surrender by September. They'll only accept unconditional surrender, and they're just Iran no longer has any boats. It no longer has any anti-aircraft systems. Everything has already been taken out. I believe Trump said that.
Well, if you have dementia, you're going to believe a lot of things, right? Especially if you're at that late stage, right? So that seems to be what's happening. I just realized we have brother Nagy and Sir Richardson. So I'm gonna make both of you speakers, just because like I want your takes on what's going on with this like entire clusterfuck, right? And Sir Arnold, you can say stuff as well if you really wanted to. Let me see, invite to speak. Yeah, but like that's what this is. I mean, I don't expect a ground invasion. I could be surprised. If I am surprised, I will laugh out loud for like 20 minutes straight on how retarded Trump is. But for now, my expectation on how this is going to play out is Trump is going to declare victory unilaterally, quote unquote, once the Air Force runs out of standoff munitions and what have you, right? He may or may not try something after that, namely with regard to moving the ships closer to Iran, in which case the ships get sunk, right? So, all right, let's say he doesn't do that. So he just unilaterally declares victory. He runs away. And then Iran becomes the toll booth operator of the Straits of Hormuz. And America is out of the region permanently because all of the bases are on fire and they're not being rebuilt. So, like...
Yeah, I saw that today. They said that, we will no longer, we apologize to the Gulf states. Sorry about like shooting you. We promise not to drop any more bombs on you, so long as you don't help the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good strategy.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, I'm not sure how usable those bases are.
They're not usable because they're getting peppered by drones every few moments, right? And a lot of the equipment has already been destroyed, right? So it's not even usable. You can't actually supply your troops with those damaged bases anymore, right? That's why there's a lot of like evacuations happening right now. Obviously, only 6 people died. We got to say that, right? But in terms of like the force posture, there is no force posture, folks. Like this is it. America lost its force posture, which it spent like 40 years to build in the Middle East. It lost it in like less than 3 or 4 nights, right? Of the Iranians destroying the place, right? And so, okay, well, enough. All Trump has to do is he just has to declare victory unilaterally, and his sucker followers will just listen and believe everything that he says. Fine, all right, let them do so, right? But everyone around the world who's not an American will see what the writing on the wall is. Iran controls the Straits of Hormuz. It's not going to let go of the blockade, right? It's just going to say, okay, well, you can declare victory if you want. You're just lying, and we're just going to continue fighting you. And oh, you're out of the region? Okay, then that means we can just beat the crap out of Israel, right? Which is like, I think that's where things are headed, man. I mean, I don't think the Americans have the ammo, the logistics, etc., to continue this for like people are saying it's going to be a forever war. I completely disagree. Because when I calculate the munitions, the logistics, and the manpower, the numbers don't add up, right? If there was some like big stash somewhere that I've missed, I'm not seeing it, right? Especially considering the fact that like even the SAD radars, right? I think 4 or 5 of them have been taken out, which I think is all of them, right? So the Americans are blind right now. I mean, the Iranians are like hitting them with the Khorramshahr 4, which is like 2,000 kilos. And I think it's like 80 separate sub-munitions of like 25 kilos each. And they hit the ground at like Mach 8 or Mach 10. So that's like what? Almost 1 ton of explosive yield just from the speed alone. And that's before the explosion. So it's like getting an artillery barrage over like a 16-kilometer radius or what have you. So, like that's what they're dealing with, folks. They're not going to survive this, right? Especially if this continues much longer. right? The Israelis are already getting like enormous casualties in like Lebanon and all these other places, right? So this is it, as they like to say, as the kids like to say.
I
uh,
uh I think we can everyone hear me?
Yep, I hear
Hello?
you.
yeah, I mean,
Sorry, it's Twitter is acting weird for me on the phone, so like I can't see anyone's. But if you could hear me, I was just gonna say, don't underestimate how stupid, idiotic Trump is. I mean, you would think he's not going to do a ground invasion, but
he might try it.
Yeah,
you
He
that's
know,
might
been
try
I
it.
my
think
problem. Every time I've bet that like there's no way Trump could be this stupid. It's like a challenge to the universe. It's no way Trump could do something this idiotic. By
Oh,
God, he did.
yeah.
I'm
like
scared to talk about nuclear exchanges at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was going to be captured by the military-industrial complex. And it turns out that he's even dumber, that not just he's did something that even the people in the MIC thought was incredibly dumb. Like, you remember the tweets by Crystal, and then John Bolton's like, oh, this way of doing the Iran war is like, maybe a bit probably problematic. And this is from a man, John Bolton, who
Mm-hmm.
never saw a war that he didn't like.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
well,
think,
Trump.
we
Yeah.
should,
Oh,
oh,
go ahead,
sorry,
finish.
go ahead.
No,
I
I
was
was
going to
just going
say
to say,
that.
like, oh, you go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry. I was just gonna say that, like, the problem is, I think he knows it and everyone knows it, that if he just unilaterally withdraws, this is an Iranian victory. So for him, that's probably why he can't back out, and then he's gonna do something stupid, like a ground
Okay,
invasion to
but
get more Americans killed.
okay. Right. Okay, so here's what I would push back on, right? Trump is 80 plus years old. He's senile. He's probably got dementia or whatever. Like, what if he doesn't know that? What if, okay, so it's March right now. What if in, I don't know, April or whatever, he just says, yeah, we won. Iran has been destroyed. Everyone is telling me Iran has been destroyed because I'm surrounded by yes men or whatever, right? I've defeated them. They've been ground to dust and we are victorious. And, oh, those bases? Yeah, those bases, they were costing us billions of dollars. We didn't need them anyways. But, like, look, Iran's been destroyed, right? Like, his Goyim followers, his suckers and rubes and imbeciles, his magatards, they'll fall for it, hook, line, and sinker. He might still do it, right? He might, okay, well, he knows that this is going to happen. Well, maybe that's true right now. In April, it might not be true anymore because of his dementia, right? So he might do this thing, right? He might do this thing, and then you suddenly find out that, yes, he does give Iran a victory. Right? Like, he just tells everyone with his actions around the world that America is not reliable. America cannot control or police the flow of oil and gas to global energy markets, and Iran is the de facto toll booth operator of the Straits of Hormuz. Right? Like the moment he does that, folks, that's lights out for the American empire, right? Like that starts off the self-destruct sequence. Like if you read any of these big books that people write about the collapse of the Soviet Union or whatever, right? Like, they kind of start at like 1987, 1989. But like, Trump doing this would be like starting off a similar T minus 3 years or T minus 2 years sequence, right? And I don't think like perhaps it's true right now, but maybe it's not going to be true a few months from now, where like he decides, yeah, actually I believe the opposite. I believe that, I've won and I can just withdraw now.
Yeah, but it's not just his dementia. I mean, that's 1/3 of the equation, but I'm thinking Bibi is the other 2/3 pushing this, and like, this is what he wanted for years and years and years, and now he got it from Trump. He tried to convince the last dementia patient administration, and they said no to a war with Iran. So I see a frontline episode coming in the next 5 years that's called Bibi's War, and it's about this
Mm-hmm.
and how this is going to lead to the end of Israel. Because if the force projection is gone by the Amerigroids, then Israel flounders.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's, I think, the one delicious irony of all of this is Israel pushed very hard for America to get involved in a war that dooms Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't understand the thinking. Like, do they not see that all the math that you just laid out and off, like this, the magical thinking, and it would lead to, that's kind of what I was saying before about the Westboro Baptist Church. What comes from this? There'll be pogroms possibly in America because people will realize how the Israelis push this.
People view
Oh,
the military. People view the military as magic. They don't view it as mathematics. Like when you go to social media and people show you large explosions or whatever of like, oh, there's big black billowing smoke or whatever, they don't stop and pause and think, okay, well, okay, the smoke is this much, the color is this. Okay, what's the radius of the explosion? Where was it? Right? How big is the target? Etc. Etc. Like they see, okay, explosion in Tehran. I'm like, dude, do you know how big Tehran is? It's an enormous city, right? Like if you detonate a car bomb as a terrorist, right? You can kill lots of people, man, but like you can probably get a larger billowing of, cloud of smoke in certain instances than what the Americans and the Israelis are doing with their standoff munitions. But that's what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is even if you explain the mathematics to people, they're not going to agree with you because like they're still going to treat warfare like magic. Does that make sense? Right? Like they're still going to be like, oh, but enough, Tehran is getting smoked. I'm like, okay, during the Iraq-Iran war, like what, over a period of 80 days, I think the Iranians lost like 15,000 people dead, right? I mean, right now, what? The official number is 5,000 plus attacks by the Americans and the Israelis on 5,000 plus targets. And I think the official Iranian dead is like 1,200 something. By the way, this number is going to fall, right? Like this average of like 150 to 200 dead a day, it's going to keep falling. And the reason we know it's going to keep falling is because the standoff munitions are going to run out, number one. And number two, as the interceptors run out as well, right? Iranian concentration of firepower and mass is going to make it so that America and Israel have to focus more on defense rather than offense, right? So like it's not even gonna reach that oh my gosh, apocalyptic number of 10,000 dead. No, dude, it's not even gonna reach that most likely. This entire what do they call it, Sir Kenneth? Operation Epic Fury. I'm sorry, man, it's not Epic Fury. It's a big snooze fest.
Operation Epstein Fury.
Epstein Fury.
Epic
I was gonna say,
yeah.
I was gonna say Epstein furries, but to answer the previous speakers, sometimes you get major powers that it's like Israel is a very ideologically brainwashed society, and a lot of these societies, when they go to war, even if the planners would tell them that they would lose, they would still do it because, as Arnav said, the magical thinking about how somehow that their military is going to win. Like you saw it in Japan in 1941 when a lot of the planners, especially in the Navy, was like, well, if we fight the Americans, we're going to lose because we do not have the industrial capacity that the Americans have. They will just outproduce us and just swarm us with carriers, which is eventually what happened. And a lot of them said it's probably even better if we just, take an economic depression and just accept basically the American demands with the economic depression rather than fight a war and inevitably lose. And the high command is like, well, if there's a 1% chance, we ought to take it. And they did. And, long story short, Japan basically was bombed to oblivion. So I think you probably see a similar dynamic with Israel on that. It's that precisely they know they'll lose, that they start doing some of the most heinous shit that you would see.
Yeah, they've always done the most craziest shit to draw the Americans into some nonsense.
Didn't the
But
Israelis lose like a helicopter and they lost like an entire commando group like yesterday or the day before yesterday, right? So they're
Last
already
night, and it was deep in the Bekaa Valley near Baalbek. Like we're talking not in southern Lebanon. This is deep in Lebanon, and they got shot out of the sky.
yeah. Their tanks are also being destroyed. Like this is not a society like without America, without the Goyim America, right? Without their Goyim showing up and giving them the equipment and all this, that, and the other thing, right? They can't survive, man. Like when America leaves, and I'm saying when, not if. At this point, it's a when, because again, mathematically, it's not like feasible. But when America leaves, right, Israel's screwed, man. the
I mean,
American,
even
They're
if the
back to the
Americans don't
exile.
leave,
the what? Sorry.
Back
Israel's
from
going
the
to be
exile.
screwed
Mm-hmm.
because the people that can leave Israel, they're already leaving Israel. And those people, like the professional class, they're the ones that, generate most of the productive, like, GDP. And they're
Mm-hmm.
all leaving. Like, we don't want anything to do with, like, this crazy, state of Judea, like, Judaism, supreme, and rah-rah. So they're already leaving. You saw, like, even before, like, with the Gaza genocide, you had, like, masses of people leaving Israel. This is just going to intensify it and make it worse. So,
Mm-hmm.
Israel's not long for this world. It's just a question of how much more suffering are these basically assholes going to inflict on the rest of the Middle East. That's my personal take on this.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we're going to see an American withdrawal, right? Obviously, suffering, yeah, all of that's true, right? But like civilian casualties, and people are going to get upset at me for saying this, right? But it's true. Like we have empirical evidence for this, right? Civilian casualties don't make the government or the side that's fighting you surrender, right? You have to meet military objectives, and you have to get those guys to stop fighting by, a combination of, okay, well, I control the objectives now, I've broken your will, and you no longer have the means to continue fighting, right? Whether it's like the logistics or the equipment or whatnot, it's just, it's not going to exist, or you're about to be surrounded, or what have you, right? So, like I was saying, during the Iran-Iraq war, right? The Iranians, just in 80 days alone, 15,000 dead, right? In the course of the entire war, several hundreds of thousands dead. America has nowhere near enough firepower in theater to inflict several hundreds of thousands of casualties, right? If they bust out the nukes, again, Washington, D.C. gets turned to glass, right? I was trying to explain this to someone the other day. I'm like, okay, well, if you bust out the nukes, you don't actually stop your defeat. Your defeat becomes more humiliating because Washington, D.C. is turned into glass, and then you withdraw from the Middle East, and then the Straits of Hormuz is still blockaded, right? And so it's like this doesn't work, man. I'm sorry, but like you're in Zugzwang, right? Like in chess, right? Zugzwang is when you're in a position rather, where no matter what move you make, right, on the chessboard, your opponent is going to gain the advantage, and you are going to lose the advantage, right? So towards end games, whether it's like with your king or with some other piece or what have you, sometimes what happens is your opponent will put you in zugzwang, and then you're kind of forced to move your king, and then 5 or 6 moves later you get checkmated, basically, right? But that's where America's at right now, right? Like enough, America will bust out the nukes. It doesn't matter, man. Like it really doesn't matter at this point. Like, okay, fine. America busts out the nukes. Washington, D.C., turn to glass. Done. All right, Sir Richardson, go ahead. You don't have to raise your hand, man. You just, chill space.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear. Go ahead.
All right. I can explain the whole nuke thing because I actually grew up around DC. It's basically a late imperial thing because the U.S.
Yeah.
dropped 2 nukes in Japan. They just kind of think that everyone else is bluffing. And it's like, well, we're the only ones who actually did it. So obviously no one else would shoot a nuke back. And so it's like, if a nuke did fire back, you would probably just see like an instant metal collapse because, again, it's a late empire. It's like you kind of. I think for a lot of people in DC, they would have to be struck directly to have like the oh shit moment happen. And until that ever happened, actually, you can see this because a couple people got assassinated like a year or two ago in DC, and all these DC staffers just panicked. It's like, wait, I could get shot. I could get shot for my opinions, and so you just see stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like, thank you for bringing that up, right? Like this is coping, man, because like what they're doing is they know that they're gonna fucking lose the conventional war. They know it, right? That's why they're talking about nukes, right? And what I tell them is, what I tell these stupid Americans is that you busting out the nukes just means Washington D.C. gets turned to glass. Like you don't avoid your defeat. The defeat becomes even worse, right? And it's absolutely a late imperial thing, right? Like, okay, several million people got liquidated in Washington D.C. because of you busting out the nukes. All right, man. So, all right, let me ask you a question. Tehran got nuked, and then you got nuked by multiple other nuclear powers. Who's gonna survive? Is Iran gonna survive, or are you gonna fucking survive? The neither nation nor empire, just detritus, aka America. Are you gonna survive, or is everyone else gonna survive? Right? So it's ridiculous. I just saw something Sir Malcolm shared. Give me a second. Let me see. Haaretz.com. IDF says it can't guarantee it will send out sirens and alerts for for missiles before the siren sounds. Okay, so basically, Sir Kenaz, remember all those missiles that miss 90% of the time and they never hit anything? Well, it turns out that all of the critical radar has been taken out by those missiles that'll only hit 10% of the time. And so therefore, rather than getting 15 minutes of like warning time, now the warning time is 2 minutes or less. So there you go.
I'm glad they're tacitly admitting their own early radar got hit.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they might still have delayed a week on that announcement.
Oh, but good sir, don't worry. Even though all the radar got hit, obviously the drones and the missiles did not hit American soldiers and Americans hiding in hotels or whatever. Obviously, that's not happening.
What I just like, it's like, hooray, we keep shooting down their missiles. It only takes like 20 interdictions, and it's like, I just see like 2 missiles. And it's like, you haven't figured this out yet?
Yeah, bro. Any
They're not even their
second
big
now,
ones, they're tiny ones.
bro. Any second now, any second now, the Persians will run out of arrows. Sir Kenas, who said that?
I don't know.
Do you remember who Croesus is, Sir Kenas?
Crisis. Yes, I thought it was something like that. As I recall, the Persians did not run out of arrows.
Oh man. Oh dear. It's just so freaking funny, man. The name of the battle, for those of you gents who want to know what that is, it's called the Battle of Carrhae, Carrhae. It's part of the Roman Parthian Wars, right? But it was like 53 BC. Marcus Licinius Crassus, the wealthiest man of his era back then, he didn't actually even want to like conquer land or whatever. He just wanted to explore and whatever. And he's like, I'm just gonna go east and just take the land because I feel like it. I just want to attack Persia because I feel like it, right? And so he sends out like I think the entire force was like 36,000 to 40,000 men, something like that, right? Big force, 4,000 light infantry, 4,000 cavalry, like 30,000 legionnaires, and they're up against like, this pathetic, Iranian force, Parthian force, whatever you want to call them, of like 1,000 heavy cavalry and like 9,000, 10,000 horse archers. Well, gentlemen, what happened in that battle? 20,000 killed, 10,000 captured. I think Croesus himself was beheaded and his skull made into like a bowl or like a mug, and then the Parthian emperors basically drank out of that skull mug or whatever. But like what happened in that battle was that the horse archers surrounded them on all sides and just kept on peppering them with their arrows over and over again, right? And they kept on doing this for hours and days and hours and days. And Croesus kept on saying, eventually don't worry, the Parthians will eventually run out of arrows. It never happened. Eventually, they were so exhausted that the 1,000 heavy cavalry, they just charged and just finished all of them off, basically, right? Very, very similar, by the way, to how we're seeing 2026, the Third Gulf War, develop. Wouldn't you say, Brother Nachi?
I would say yes. It's funny, Ahnaf. I'm still lying in bed. It's early
It's all
here.
good, bro.
I'm just relaxing and listening to your tale. It was almost like like I was
Nobody
tucked
learns
into
anything,
bed
bro.
and you're telling me about
Listen,
the
bro.
Parthians.
Nobody learns anything. You can open up the history book. There's nothing new under the sun. You can open up a history book. You can go to a battle. You can go to like an ancient battle. You can go to a modern battle, and you can be like, oh wow, look at all the parallels. You can do this all day, man. But nobody fucking learns. Nobody fucking learns.
Yeah.
Nobody fucking cares, right? Everyone is
I feel
just
bad because
yeah.
People will be like, "Oh, this scene in DC or the US, this is like the most unspeakable evil ever," and I'm like, "No, this happened in
No.
Syria and Rome and like 3 other countries I can think of, and also a bunch of Chinese dynasties."
Yeah. I mean, like, sorry, Americans, you're not the main character of history, right? And oh, by the way, that's not something you should aspire to be. Like for a long period of time, for like several millennia, the two main characters of history were like India and China. Like the two main characters of history, India and China. Before them, it was like Egypt and these other guys, right? Okay, what does it mean to be the main character of history? Well, Oh, look, drought. Oh, look, water supply shortage. Oh, look, plague. And everyone dies. And oh, what happens after that? They all just start fighting.
Karl Rove.
Also, everyone wants to hear short
Remember
events.
Karl
Like,
Rove?
Remember Karl Rove? What did he say?
Yeah, like, no, the empire stuff. We are the empire. We make our own
We
history.
make our own reality.
Good God, that's a great
Oh,
quote.
man. Remember, folks.
Yeah, it's kind of.
Yeah, go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's kind of freakish how similar the neocon talking points are compared to like 2001, 2003. Like literally, no one's learned anything. Everyone's just flying by the seats of their pants. Just assuming Iran will bend the knee and yeah, it's just flabbergasting how retarded it all is. Like it's unbelievable.
Well, that's what happens when
Senior.
history ends, and then
All
you
right.
say no new
Yeah.
things are under the sun.
3 minutes
Yeah.
ago. 3 minutes ago. Senior IRGC official, Nakdi, to state television. Quote, a unique opportunity has arisen to eliminate Israel once and for all. Unquote. What do you guys think about that?
Oh, I wish I had
Inshallah.
my soundboard. I'd be like blowing victory trumpets.
Because we all
Please.
know what's gonna happen, gents. Because like you can so like here's another battle to think about. Napoleon's invasion of Russia. Battle of Borodino. How many of you gents know about the Battle of Borodino?
I know about it, but I don't know any
Know it quite
statistics
well.
about it, unfortunately.
So Battle of Borodino was in
Quite well.
1812. Not in 1812, rather. It was September 1812, right? And it was like France and its vassals. It's like France, Poland, Italy, whatever, the whole shebang, right? Saxony, whatever, right? And you've got Napoleon leading the thing against Kutuzov, right? And he's got about, I would say Napoleon's got about 105,000, 100,000. I'm going to say 105,000 something. Kutuzov's got about 120,000 and whatever, right? And it's just like, dude, it is so brutally attritional, right? Like, the French die, the Russians die, the French die, the Russians die, right? Eventually, after killing like 50,000 Russians and losing like 40,000 themselves, the French eventually, quote unquote, win, right? And they're like, oh, Moscow is right there. Let's go to Moscow. And oh, what happened to Moscow? Moscow has been emptied of all the weapons and the inventory and whatnot, right? And Napoleon's like, all right, I got Moscow. You got to surrender. And the Russians are like, nope, we're not going to surrender. We're just going to keep fighting you. And now that you're in Moscow, good luck defending it.
The craziest
And then
thing
they
about that invasion.
burned Moscow to the ground.
They burnt Moscow to the ground, but before they did, I think the granaries and the logistics and the reserves were just burnt, right? The reason I bring it up is that the reason Napoleon retreated was because even though he got to Moscow, he realized that he could not force the Russians to surrender, right? Because now what they were doing was they were surrounding him from all directions and they were just going to guerrilla fight and attrition him to death, right? Which is basically what is going to happen. Like, America's not even going to get to Tehran because, again, there's no 2 million man army. What's going to happen is the Americans are going to go, oh fuck, the Iraqis are going to push into Kuwait, or oh fuck, the PMF is going to surround us and kill us. Oh fuck, Iranian drones and missiles have destroyed our logistics, our radar, our supply, etc., etc. We gotta leave, otherwise we're gonna get massacred, right? Which is precisely what's gonna happen, right? Like,
There's a new DC idea I think you want to hear because I thought this was really fucking funny.
Yeah, go for
which
it,
is
man.
what if we quote unquote invade Iran, but by invade Iran we actually occupy those islands between Arabia and them and just get hit by missiles the whole time. And
Yeah,
claim
we
we
get
got
hit
their
by.
oil.
Oh, but good sir, missiles miss 90% of the time, so it's all good. Obviously,
Like let's just land our entire army on that island in the coastline of like right off it and like just say that we've begun occupying it.
The good old Karg Island.
Yeah.
For those of you familiar with, I think Battlefield. I think it was a map in Battlefield. But no, if people are constantly thinking like, oh, how would a war with Iran go? Like an actual ground war. Set aside Ahnaf. I know You've belabored this point a million times that it's not possible, it's not feasible, the logistics, etc. Okay, set that
Wave the
aside.
magic wand. Yeah.
Let's
Wave the
say
magic wand and just
yes,
teleport
exactly.
2 million people over. Thought experiment. Yeah.
Correct. Or even just 20,000 special operators or whatever
Bro,
you
just give him
want.
2
Any kind
million,
of
man.
boots on the ground.
Just go big or go home. Just give him 2 million, man. Just give him 2 million. Yeah.
Yeah. It's gonna look, in my opinion, and you guys can correct me if I'm far off base, but it's gonna look like what happened with Hezbollah in southern Lebanon, where I mean, obviously times like 10. Like Iran has 10 times the firepower, 10 times the amount of manpower.
Yeah.
But they have ATGMs, right? They have standoff munitions. They have multiple launch rocket systems. They have mortars. They're just gonna saturate whatever convoys and whatever groups come in,
They'll hit
and
the
they're just
back,
gonna
bro.
just
They don't even have to do that.
yeah.
They'll hit. What's going to happen is they'll use their drones and their short range ballistic missiles. They'll hit your supply at the back. That's all they got to do.
Mhm.
And then all your dudes, your like Delta Force 6'5", 240-pound, whatever the fuck, right? All your so-called quote unquote bad boys or bad dudes, within 3 days, man, they'll
The
starve,
chuds,
man.
yeah.
Like they'll just starve and they'll get surrounded. And like what happened to Quasis? What happened to Quasis, bro? He got picked
Yeah.
off, right? Same thing
There
here,
was an
man.
even better idea I heard, which is like, what if we just take hundreds of helicopters and fly them over the Zagros Mountains, and they just airdrop it?
Oh my
Like-
god, bro.
Oh, the Guerrillian airdrop move is really funny.
Oh,
It's
man.
we're gonna have the largest airdrop in history,
Oh,
guys.
sure, bro.
We're just gonna drop directly into our
I just love
graves,
the line said, seriously, fly over the Zagros Mountain with helicopters.
Yeah. Do they even know how high the
Yeah,
Zagros
that's not-
Mountains are? Probably not, because they never went to geography
No.
class. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yep.
Is this gonna be the end of Lindsey Graham? At least.
It's gonna be the end of lots of people.
Much longer to go. Like, I mean, I figure him and McDonald are headed for a dirt nap pretty shortly.
Yeah.
So Lindsey Graham, they hit the oil.
DC are going to have to find a new job now that Lindsey's no longer with us.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you what's going to happen to him. Because they hit the oil, it's going to hit like a supply shock in the East Asia, and his HIV medicine will no longer be delivered to him, and it'll pass shortly.
Ah, damn.
Yeah, there we go.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Thank God.
It's not just the bonds. It's not just the American bonds that the East Asian satrapies will liquidate. They're gonna liquidate a lot of other stuff. So there you go, folks.
Oh man.
The thing I'm interested to see is, what is going to be the moment at which the Americans cry uncle? Is it going to be oil hitting 150? Is it going to be oil hitting like 200? Like, what are we talking about? Like, what do you need, basically?
You know what's funny? No, I hear you. It's funny when Trump says stuff like explicitly, like we are not going to tap into no plans to tap into the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. No plans to do. It's like that's exactly what they're thinking, right? They're like showing their cards. Obviously, they're gonna have to tap into that, and it's gonna be very
reserve?
soon.
It was all drained. They never refilled it.
Yeah, it's like 40. There's like 40% of what it was in 2020 or whatever, or like 30%. Like it's just crazy, man. Like I think it will be the oil. Personally, I think the oil and gas and the shock to the economy.
Mm-hmm.
Like gas prices. I'm in Akron, Ohio. They went from $2.66, which was quite low, a very reasonable price, 6 days ago to I think they're $3.50 now, and that's completely unreasonable. People are at least grumpy. If they go over $4, people will be very angry.
Mm-hmm.
If they go over $4.50 to around $5, people will not have enough money to buy gas. So, yeah, it's that's I think where the pain point is. Personally, I don't think it's necessarily the amount of it's not the prestige, it's not the amount of American lives. It's mostly just complete pain in the economy.
Mm-hmm.
It will be Joe Biden's fault if that happens.
They've actually
God,
preemptively
Brandon.
blamed how bad this is going on Joe Biden's Ukraine stuff. Like, it's
Mhm.
because of what they did that we can't do any of this. And it's like, okay, have fun, guys.
Yeah. Brain dead end of empire stuff, right? Honestly, honestly, man, like this is good because like if America dies in this fake, gay, and retarded way, right? It's not going to like, you know, do something fake, gay, and retarded in like other parts of the world, whether it's like Cuba or Nicaragua or whatever. So if they die in Iran, wonderful,
I
right?
mean, just look what they did to poor Venezuela because they're trying to like
Yeah,
mark every month.
exactly, bro, exactly.
It's like,
I
okay, you
say
have to
good
pretend to
things.
be my friend. You can keep the same government, but you just have to pretend to be allied with us, okay? And then like they just have to do this for like I guess 6 months and
Oh
then it's
man,
off.
It's
oh
unbelievable.
yes,
It's
sir.
unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. Sir Kenaz, is Iran
Yes.
gonna sink the ships? What do you think?
Well, if they bring the ships into the into the Strait of Hormuz, they are going to be facing resistance.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, I mean, there's no way, basically what they're thinking, Iran is going to say, oh no, a carrier strike group is sailing through the Hormuz. We better not get them angry.
So there's one interesting thing. I heard that it's possible that the George H.W. Bush aircraft carrier group is headed to the Middle East.
Mm-hmm.
Has anyone else seen anything about that?
Yeah, I mean, there's two options, right? Option number
I
one,
have seen
I
that,
think,
yep.
yeah, I think
Okay.
option number one is that it's going in to relieve the Ford of its duties, right? So the Ford
Ah,
disappears,
yes.
the Ford goes away or whatever when that thing arrives or whatever, right? And the other option is it's gonna be three in theater. I don't think this one's gonna happen though because like the Ford has been at sea for like 11 months now. It was supposed to be out only for 5 months, so it's an additional 6 months or whatever, right? So yeah, they're not really fit for purpose in terms of like making them do combat missions or whatever. Like forget about it. But
Mhm.
that's where
Didn't
people
one
ask.
of the carriers transit the Suez Canal yesterday? I don't know which one, but I think one of them's in the Red
I
Sea
don't
right
think
now.
I don't think they've crossed it quite yet, right? But perhaps the one of them will. Oh, all right. What is this? Sorry, give me a second. Smash the device you're okay. Let me see. Americanets, 18 hours ago. Smash the device you're reading this on. Sprint to the bank and take out all your money. Exchange your worthless dollars for gasoline, no matter the price. Put the gasoline in the tunnel under your house. I told you to begin constructing a year ago. Uh,
Dude, I've been saying that for a while. I mean, it angers me that it's well, maybe I'm too dumb to understand the reason why, but you're not allowed to store gasoline in like an underground reservoir
yeah,
in the U.S. It's
yeah.
illegal, and
Leak hazard, fire hazard.
yeah, I
I
mean
mean,
that's true, but the collapse of the economy is also a hazard.
yeah.
Mhm.
Let's see. Oh,
So
the
There's a
new.
lot of things people should do that probably aren't above board.
Sir
That's all.
Kenaz, look. Sir
Oh,
Kenaz,
they're
check it out.
sending a carrier called the USS George H.W. Bush to the Middle East. Two carriers
That's
are
hilarious.
already there. You're named after Bush, and you named your carriers after Bush 1 and Gerald Ford.
And
Yeah.
yeah, the poopy Jerry has transited the Suez. It's in the Red Sea.
Yeah,
it's in the Red Sea.
Hmm.
Uh,
yeah.
Hmm.
It's basically so they've got three aircraft carriers there. That would put three nuclear supercarriers in the region at once.
Hmm.
And they still are losing force projection.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
okay, yeah, this is
Hmm.
Lincoln Ford. Okay.
It's kind of like watching your grandfather pull up to like the club, you know? Like all the young people are dancing.
Sir Kenaz, behold the missiles that miss 90% of the time. They only hit 10% of the time. Look at that. They've destroyed Halliburton.
Bye
Uh,
bye.
Bye bye.
this is just going to be a third U.S. Navy aircraft carrier. I mean,
Hmm.
you're bringing the Houthis chased a carrier away from their like battle range because they were getting missiles lobbed at them from a country that doesn't have a navy.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're going to bring 3 carriers within range of Hormuz.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like Will Shriver says there, like surely they will not try to go through the El Mandab Strait.
4 minutes ago, breaking news. The United States has struck a freshwater desalination plant on Keshem Island. Iranian Foreign Minister just warned that there will be severe consequences for this despicable action. 70% of the United Arab Emirates' total water demand is met through desalination. Sir Kenaz, what do you think happens next?
Uh, let's see, water bankruptcy. What what do I think happens next? Okay, they just took out, let me get this straight here they took out the desalination plant that provides a lot of the UAE's water.
No. An
Iran.
Iranian desalination plant was hit by America and Israel.
Oh, they're very fortunate because, like, now if Israel got most of its water from desalination plants and their, missile defense systems were at a low, that would be a real problem. So luckily they're not in that. Oh, never mind.
Sir Kenaz, come on. Missiles miss 90% of the time. Like, obviously Iran can't hit the desalination plants. Obviously they're gonna miss. This is like the Westoid, like the Goyim, the Westoid. This is all they got, man. Like, all they got is superstition. All they got is, like, Qing Dynasty, Boxer Rebellion. I'm wearing a bunch of magic talismans, therefore the artillery is not going to hit me from the British, right? It's the same crap, man. The Americans are like, well, missiles are not going to hit me. They miss 90% of the time. That's all they got left. This society is completely fucked. It's completely dead. Like once you become superstitious like that, there's no stopping what's about to happen, right? Like, we literally have a war we can study, the Russo-Ukrainian war, and there's multiple other smaller wars, whether it's Armenia, Azerbaijan, and all these other things. We can look at, like, short-range missiles and drones and whatever, and we can be like, okay, what's their actual accuracy? Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. The era of the dumb missile ended a while ago. You were not paying attention, folks.
Can we appreciate the U.S. was like stuck in a it's still going in like a proxy war with Ukraine for like 5 years and didn't take any lessons from like everything that was happening there?
Bro.
No, we gave Palmer Luckey massive DoD contracts to make extremely expensive drones that work worse than
I keep seeing these
some
reports
random.
about how they're like doing all this industrial capacity and stuff, and then I'm just thinking to myself, like, have they asked the government contractors yet who are going to like make billions and proceed to deliver like one missile a year?
Yeah.
And not even that. Now the Americans are blowing up inflatable tanks because apparently Iran reportedly imported more than 900K inflatable decoy model tanks from China. Ballistic.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. No, like, this is a very well-known tactic. Like, people have been doing this for years, right? The Iranians have studied the previous wars that America's fought, right? It's not like they woke up yesterday and they're like, okay, this is how we're gonna fight the war, right? So that's what
But
they
America thinks that's the case, though. They think, no, everything is in frozen stasis here. And no, everyone's supposed to be still fighting like it's 2003.
Yeah. Breaking news. More U.S. evacuation flights are leaving from Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. U.S. Department of Homeland Security, Boeing 737, en route to Istanbul. Sir Kenaz, only 6 people are dead. Don't worry.
Okay, what does this portend for Dubai? What does this portend for the United Arab Emirates? I mean, the big selling point for the UAE and in general for the Gulf states, but particularly in UAE and Dubai, was this is a safe place for rich people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think they should be looking to Uzbekistan and those previous USSR satellites to see how they did after the collapse.
I don't expect most of the Gulf monarchies, because they're basically family dictatorships. Let's just be honest, right? I don't expect most of them to survive. right?
I think Iran and Saudis will have a gentleman's agreement and just split them.
Honestly, I think what's going to happen is the governments in these places are going to fall, right? Because like food and water shortages and what have you, obviously collapsing revenue from oil and gas flows, not making it to market, right? And at that point, right, it's just going to be like Saudi Arabia not really gobbling them up, but more so like, I mean, even Saudi, there's a small chance. Obviously we've not gotten there yet. This crisis has to go on for several months until Saudi Arabia is also in a similar situation. But like, it's entirely possible that these countries stop existing and new countries form, which are like a larger, more coherent bloc, right? Like, okay, well, guys, that family dictatorship thing where like, oh, we control this tiny island over here, which only does like gas and whatever to the global market. Yeah, that's not a good idea. So let's unify rather the peninsula or whatever, right? So that seems to be what's going on with regard to, because again, like, oh, we're only hitting the American bases. Don't worry, guys. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Well, I mean, people might believe that, but a lot of people look at that and go, okay, well, we actually can't do anything against Iran, and America's not going to save our ass, so we got to get stronger, right? Because we dumped all that money in their face, in America's face rather, and they didn't help us out, so we got to figure out something else. Ay, ay, ay. What a shit show. Trump has privately shown serious interest in U.S. ground troops in Iran. That's perfect, man. I'm going to share this to the space. There we go. This is like the perfect. Ay, ay, ay. Don't worry, Sir Ken. As those troops are invading, 90% of the missiles and drones are going to miss them because they're Americans. They're God's chosen people. God's chosen goyim, rather. They're not people. Americans aren't people. Americans are goyim, right? So they're God's chosen goyim, and since they're fighting for God's chosen people, 90% of the stuff will miss. They don't need magic talismans. They just need the favor of the Israelis. There we go.
Yeah, and you know what? That when I saw that last night about the Trump thing about him privately considering land troops or ground troops, I immediately saw all the Zionist accounts start saying, people who don't want to invade Iran with ground boots, well, they're just cowards, and they're like, yeah, go with Tucker Carlson because you're just like a Jew hater. And it's like, is this the level of dialogue we're having about this already? Like,
Oh, yeah.
this is.
That's all they got, bro. Like, this is just, it's not a real country. It's not a real country. It's not even an empire. It's just a golem of the Jews. That's what it is. That's what America's become. So,
Yeah, it's like get in the box or you're an anti-Semite.
yeah. Like, if Americans want to be the golem of the Jews so much, I say let them, man. Like, oh, we are the superpower. Buddy, you're a vassal, man. Israel is your overlord. Israel says kneel down and you kneel down, right? Israel says you're my bitch and you say yes sir, woof woof, right? Like, whatever, man. Like, if you want to be the golem, if you want to be their goyim, if you want the cowherd to whip you around to plow the land, then that's how it's gonna be, right? I mean, I don't know if Trump's actually gonna try and do a draft. That will be hilarious if he tries to do a draft and collapses a society, or maybe he just does like
Boy,
paratroopers or like special. Yeah,
even
go
with
ahead,
the
man.
draft, does the U.S. have like the capacity to do a draft?
No,
Like,
it
do they
doesn't.
have the
That's the thing.
bureaucrecy to do it? I mean, like,
No,
you would
they
have to
don't.
revive, was it selective service, right? Like, how many
Yeah,
people are employed in selective service right now?
exactly.
Oh man, you would just start seeing videos from Ukraine where they like run up on a random, Zoomer and they try and stuff him in a van and he like runs away and like
Mhm.
the draft officers are pelted with rocks and snowballs and stuff and like
Mhm.
that's
No,
what
like
you
in
would see.
America, they would not just be pelted with rocks and shit. People would shoot them if you're going after the kids, like, with the parents. Like, you would have probably like
Yeah,
shootings,
Mhm.
like
There would be
paramilitary or just individual.
quite quite
a
possibly, quite
full-on
possibly.
Groiper revolt in the streets.
Groiper revolt. Oh man,
Imagine if they went and seized Nick Fuentes while he was on air. Like,
they might
you're coming with us, buddy.
come
You're
with
gonna
us.
join the The U.S. Army.
Man,
Oh,
he is
man.
talking spicy about voting for a Democrat next time he can.
Oh
These
man.
goyim
That's the problem. It
like
doesn't
yeah, but like
it
they're a bunch
doesn't
of
matter.
yeah, they are a bunch of
Precisely.
goyim, bro. Like they don't actually believe in any of this stuff. They don't believe in nationalism, populism, traditionalism. Like add 50 more adjectives. They're just a bunch of spoiled brats. They live in an empire that's collapsing, and they want to shore up their position in this collapsing society. That's all they are, man. Like Fuentes, 1 second he says Epstein is based, next second he says Epstein is awful. It's all clicks. It's just a business model. That's all they are, man. Like they're just a bunch of goyim. So what I say is, okay, then you and Israel are meant for each other, man. Like it's not an accident. It's not an accident that America is the golem of the Jews. It's not. Because like this is what the society is built towards. This is like the final evolution of the society before it collapses catabolically, right?
Oh, Goy
America's
slop
just an economic
indeed.
zone.
Yeah.
It's an economic zone, and it's basically it's a much bigger version of Dubai. I mean, basically, rich
That's
people
a,
buy influence in it.
that's a perfect way of that's awesome.
America is like the cattle plantation for the Israelis. America is like the big Dubai for the Israelis, where the Israelis show up, and what do? They build an entire industry. They whether it's the pornography industry or whatever. Oh, I want to do like get into the pornography business. I can get the American goyim to do the pornography for me, right? Like that. That's
Oh,
what this is, folks.
yeah. Oh, I got some really great.
Yeah.
This isn't just great Goy slop about war. It's Goy slop about economics. This is a prediction from Great as Our God. Oil is temp. War is over in a week. Russian oil might be released also. The Middle East will super pump to fill back orders. Plus, Iranian oil in a few weeks won't be restricted. Not advice, but I think in a month we get lower oil prices equal higher PM profits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I couldn't smoke
Man,
enough crack.
this shit sounds even more pathetic than like Hitler's dream of a second miracle of the Brandenburgs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, this
Does anyone? For the reference, it's basically the miracle of Brandenburgs was like the 7 Years' War, and Frederick was really losing, and then all of a sudden, one of the empress in Russia died, and after she died, she pulled out of she pulled out of the war to, against Prussia. So that way, Prussia didn't end up losing most of its territory in the 7 Years' War. Hitler thought that he got a second miracle of the Brandenburgs when FDR died, as the Soviets were marching into Germany. So that, fanfic sounds even more pathetic than that. And it's like, it's just
yeah.
so much fanfic from the US these days.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and bad fanfic. Sorry.
Good
Up,
sir. Don't
up to
worry.
an
Don't
yeah.
worry. The American soldier is invincible, right? The American soldier he's favored by God Almighty himself. Once again, only 6 dead. Missiles and drones never hit him. And oh, by the way, right? Like the American
Well,
soldier.
Trump was sent by Jesus to prosecute this war, obviously.
Obviously.
Donald Trump, the guy who grabs people by the pussy, was sent by Jesus Christ of Nazareth.
Yeah.
You know.
And
Man,
when he talks to Christians in the States, he often says, I'm not getting in. I'm not getting into heaven. I'm probably going to the other place. But yet you're sent by Jesus? You sound like the Antichrist.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's too dumb to be the Antichrist.
He's too
He's just a
retarded, man.
salesman,
He's
man.
too retarded. He's
Yeah.
too retarded.
He actually, I think he's one of the greatest mujahideen of our living generation. I mean, he's absolutely destroying the
bro.
ability for the U.S. to dominate the Middle East. I mean, he is actively he's essentially destroyed 14 military bases already. Might as well let him keep
Trump
cooking.
He
You know?
Trump
has,
has Trump has basically what Trump has done is that 40 plus years of American power projection based on his actions. Trump has, obviously Iran decimated the bases, but because of what Trump has started, he has ruined like, oh my gosh, enough. America has oil and food. Like, okay, dude, I'm not talking about first order effects. Okay. If the global economy collapses, the fact that a bunch of oil and gas companies in America for a few months make a shit ton of money is completely irrelevant, right? It's completely irrelevant because, like, all the people buying your debt and all the people financing you and giving you access to the global credit card, they fell apart, right? So you're going to fall apart the worst because you're the guy who's downstream of all the other impacts, and so the compound shocks are going to hit you the hardest, right? So it's like, it's just silly. Like, people are making up, like, I'm on a Telegram group. I'm not going to name names, but there's like a couple of these copes on that Telegram group. Some are making like, oh, only America and Russia have like these 4 or 5 fundamental attributes of like food, arable land, hydrocarbons. And I'm like, okay, dude, you're correct, right? I don't disagree with your fundamentals, but like, America running out of arable land is not the reason why in less than 5 years' time America is going to collapse and there's going to be multiple waves of dirty wars, big Rwanda style. Like, that's not the reason. The reason is not, oh my gosh, arable land is gone from America forever. Like, that's not the reason, bro. you gotta look at the chessboard. You gotta use all 64 squares on the chessboard. Oh my gosh, enough. I control the central 4 squares, and we are gonna control it because our country has these fundamental. No, dude, it doesn't fucking matter, right? You controlling the center doesn't mean anything if you lose the game.
Oh, and yet another gem on Twitter. Boom! Trump White House says America will take, all caps, the oil away from terrorists in Iran. This is huge. Ultimately, we're not going to have to worry about these issues in the Strait of Hormuz because we're going to get all of the oil out of the hands of terrorists.
And how are they going to do that when the oil infrastructure has been completely destroyed by Iran and the straits are still blockaded?
Okay, I mean, you couldn't protect.
Well, Arnav, technically, as the Iranian foreign minister was asked, he said, the strait is not closed. And then he adds, but it's not open.
They should do that. Like, every time that useless organization known as the United Nations, if that organization ever asks you something, you should always answer like that. You should always give an answer like that. That's like the perfect way of answering, like bureaucrats, man. Oh my god.
The strait is not closed.
But it's not
open.
Bro.
It's kind of like how President Pezeshkian apologized for striking, other countries, and then like an hour later he sent a drone into a hotel in Bahrain. So these things are up in the air. Let's just.
Oh yeah.
Well, I don't know. I think I was listening to a podcast from someone who's very pro Iran war, and he was kind of making that point of like, this is a dance. The Iranians say they can close it, but the Americans say they're going to keep it open. Well, the insurance companies decide, okay, well the option of the Americans have no say in that equation, right? Like, this is an Iranian decision that is then an outcome is the insurance is not there for anyone to pass. So how do the Americans actually rationalize this and say, it's just like how their war, they can blow up a million things, but they're not actually having any strategic effect on the end game.
Yeah.
Well, there is no doubt in my mind, and I mean, bold prediction here, but Iran can 100% destroy any ship that they want in the Strait of Hormuz. Like that,
yes.
Concentration
there
of
is
firepower.
no doubt in my mind.
Concentration of firepower. That's what it comes down to. Like Sir Cleveland Blakemore, who we've had on the show lots of times. He basically said it best. He's like, even if America, summoned 4 UFOs from Area 51, it wouldn't matter because Iran has concentration of firepower, right? Like, it's not about technology. It's about the fact that in terms of ordnance delivery, right? Like, you can just batter the place with like so much ordnance that the other guy will just get absolutely swamped, right? Which is basically what we're seeing in a small bit, at least, with regard to like Iran shooting these tankers which refuse to follow the IRGC's commands. It's like, okay, well, You're not allowed to pass, bro. Stop. All right, we're gonna ask a third time. Oh, you didn't stop. All right, we're gonna shoot you. All right.
And that's why the Americans have to like cook up this Cape shit fanfic laser gun on their boat when in actual fact Trump is talking about rail guns at home for new boats.
Rail guns and all this other crap, man. Like it's
The
just
Trump
like,
battleship, man.
dude, it's just such a fucking like, oh my gosh. It's always Wunderwaffe crap. Like when they're losing, it's always like, oh yeah, we're gonna bust out the nukes, or oh, we got the Wunderwaffe. I'm like, Americans are so pathetic, man. I'm sorry, but like it's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. Using the nukes means you still die, and you don't have the Wunderwaffe. Get the fuck out of here. You're not 12. I guess maybe some of them never stopped being 12 years old. Maybe me saying that is not entirely accurate.
Yeah, it's like they only believe what mommy and daddy tell them. There's only 6 dead while the German hospitals are overflowing with patients.
Mm-hmm. Uh,
Well,
but
did you guys hear about the ships in basically the Strait are all trying to re-register as quick as they can to become Chinese like ships?
yeah, I
Oh,
heard
because
about
the
that.
Iranians
Yeah.
said they wouldn't strike anybody but the Americans, right? And the Israelis.
Yeah. So they're all trying to
Did
re-register to be like Chinese ships.
Mm-hmm.
did you guys see, Sir Meow? Did you see that China reported they were going to send some naval vessels to escort their tankers through the Straits of Hormuz?
That's
Or
So
was
I
I just
saw that
reading?
on
if that's
Twitter, but
true.
I did not. Yeah, I saw that on Twitter, but I didn't see it
Yeah,
like on the Xinhua, like any of the Chinese media. So I'm not
yeah.
sure the validity. And I will
Okay,
say
okay.
this, like
Still a rumor.
China's military is very good at trying to deter the US over like the South China Sea or the Taiwan scenario. I don't think they have power projection capabilities to the Persian Gulf. So I think that is still very limited. And that is basically, I'm not even sure if it's like in the
It
early
doesn't
process of
matter.
being developed.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Like even if you waved a magic wand and you gave China power projection over the Persian Gulf, it doesn't matter because Iran has concentration of firepower. Like okay, enough.
Mhm.
Why can't America sail a carrier through the straits? Well, I mean, if you want to sail a carrier through it, man, be my guest. It's not coming out, right? Like that's what this comes down to. It's not about like all this other stuff that people talk about of like, well, escorts or whatever. Like, dude, they have sea mines, okay? They have undersea UAVs. They got everything in there, man. They
And,
can hit you. They can
and you
hit
don't even
you.
need to sink the carrier.
You don't need to. That's
Like
it.
you don't even need to sink it. You just like destroy the runway, like the catapults. Like they're very like delicate systems. And then you
Yep.
basically have a massive 100-ton paperweight sailing in the sea that cannot basically launch jets.
Mm-hmm.
Like we disable it. You don't have to even sink it. And then what?
Mm-hmm.
What does the U.S. like project power launch, like aircrafts from? So yeah, like I don't know, like it seems like a pretty stupid thing to try to put them close to Iranian shores. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I hope they don't do it, but you can't rule anything out with this administration.
Oh, they'll do
As
it.
you were saying earlier about Hegseth, like
Mm-hmm.
Hegseth is just a fucking moron.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know, like 60 years ago, they would like he would not be like someone like him would only be allowed to be part of McNamara's moron rather than being the Secretary of Defense. And then
Mm-hmm.
now 60 years later, here we are, and this guy's fucking Secretary of Defense doing
Mm-hmm.
push-ups and fake bench presses, like 300-pound bench presses. Like, come on, like,
Mm-hmm.
what are we, fucking 2 years old? Like, you don't need
12
all
years
this,
old.
like, yeah, I'm a
Forever
man.
12 years
I'm
old,
gonna
bro. Forever 12 years old. That's what it is,
I'm a
man.
man, and I'm like Transformers. We're gonna destroy our enemy. Like,
Yep.
why are you talking like a
He's the
12-year-old?
Mm-hmm.
he's the platonic ideal of a GWAT veteran.
Mm-hmm.
Like the dude is just a psycho who wants to kill and blow shit up, and all Muslims are evil or whatever. Like the dude is just fucking retarded, and
Mm-hmm.
it's very unfortunate.
Yeah,
If
he's
you took
horrible.
if you took the early global war on terror stuff from like the early 2000s, George W. Bush stuff, and you put in like new right, dissident right, nationalist, populist, blah blah blah, add 50 more adjectives. If you made that fake, gay, retarded, obviously vindictive, vile, hateful, and and you mixed it up and you concocted it and you made like a new version of like a Merrimut and a Merigolem. That's what you would get with Pete Hexet. That's what that is, man. That's what that is.
Sir Ahnaf, you forgot broke, bitchless, balding.
Bro, business ball.
That tweet was so funny, man, when you said that last
Washington
episode.
Post. All right, Washington
Ah,
Post reports the Pentagon may be preparing for an imminent ground operation in Iran after the sudden cancellation of exercises by the elite 82nd Airborne Division stationed at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. The brigade combat group has around 4 to 5,000 soldiers ready for deployment within 18 hours. Sir Kenaz, you're going to see it. You're going to see the ground war in Iran. Hooray!
In my head,
But
I just sorry to cut you off there, but in my head, I just keep seeing that picture of the fat, obese National Guards jumping out of their truck from like a couple months ago or whatever it was, and I think America's not ready for this.
Good sir, you're wrong. Obviously, the American soldier cannot be bested by anyone on the battlefield. But Sir Kenas, go ahead.
And this is the 82nd Division, I'll have you know, the 82nd Airborne Assault. Obviously, the better reference is we're getting a sequel to Operation Eagle Claw,
yeah,
which
I
went
mean,
horribly in the 80s.
yeah,
Sir Kenas, go
there's
ahead.
no way that you can have, like, we don't have the manpower needed. We don't have it. The numbers aren't lying here.
yeah.
We can't, you're talking about short targeted attacks from like small groups. You can't pull off what you did in Venezuela in Iran. Venezuela doesn't have any. Venezuela's nowhere near as mountainous. Venezuela's nowhere near as big. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think. I mean, it's like, and you are not going to rush in and pull like the president of Iran and then suddenly start a regime change. That's not happening. What do you plan to do with this ground invasion? What do you consider an acceptable level of casualties?
Sir
I'm not
Kenas,
sure anybody
Sir Kenas,
knows that.
nobody will die. Sir Kenas, nobody will die. 6 dead. It'll always remain 6 dead. Nothing will be reported.
We should send some ICE agents over there.
What a fucking shit show. What is happening? Red alert
I
in
mean,
Tel
the
Aviv.
only
Yeah, go ahead.
I would just say the only possible scenario that I can even make sense of a ground invasion would be to literally attempt to create to like seize the Straits of Hormuz, like the landward side on the Iranian side, right, and like create some kind of a buffer. But then you're just sitting ducks. You're just sitting there, and you're just gonna get pounded, and it wouldn't even really stop the. It wouldn't even unblock the straits because like Iran has greater than 300-kilometer anti-ship ballistic missile range. So, and their drones go for. So none of this makes any sense. I mean, there's no. I mean, it would just be cape shit. Just like send special forces into like Chabahar port and like seize like the mayor or some shit. Like there's no point to any of this.
Nope.
And I would just briefly add, Iran's objective in the Strait of Hormuz is sea denial, whereas the United States objective in the Strait of Hormuz is sea control, and one is infinitely more difficult to accomplish than the other. Like the Iranians don't need to make sure, they don't need to make sure that all the commercial ships are sunk. They just gotta basically 10, 20%. If you transit, imagine if you transit every 4 ships or every four trips you take, you probably gonna one of the trips you're gonna get unlucky and get sunk. Once that happens, no one is gonna insure those ships. So sea denial for Iran is much easier to achieve and accomplish than what America is trying to achieve, which is sea control.
Yeah, it's like being a bear
So,
trying to eat a camper. You don't have to catch the fastest camper. You just got to catch the slowest one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
exactly. So,
Mhm.
But I was told that Trump was going to give everyone $200 billion to insure the shipping. And he's going to get it from the tariff money. So obviously everything that you said is wrong, and this is just 12D chess.
Cooked them.
It is funny. It is funny thinking like, you know, Iran. All they have to they're targeting ships that contain the most flammable explosive substances on the face of the earth. You know, outside of maybe uranium or whatever. Like that, it's so easy. Like you can shoot an ATGM and you know you can shoot a 107 millimeter rocket. You can shoot whatever you want, and you're gonna blow up an LNG tanker. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, they're not even allowed to smoke cigarettes on those ships. You know, like
All of the ships are empty. No one's going to die. Only 6 people dead. Get your facts straight, better Naji.
I apologize.
Yeah. And
Actually,
obviously
I
the
really
artillery, obviously the shore batteries, the artillery, the SRBMs, the rockets, the missiles, the drones, nothing's ever going to hit because America is favored by God Almighty himself, and the chosen people Israel have blessed their goyim, their goy kettle, their golem. So therefore no one gets hit. Gotta get your facts straight, gentlemen. This is literally what the other side believes, by the way.
the pictures I'm seeing from Tel Aviv would tell a different story.
no,
Oh,
or
that's
no.
AI, man. They're
They
all
have
AI
the
generated.
Faustian spirit. They
They're
have the
all AI
Faustian
generated, bro.
spirit, which protects them.
Mm-hmm.
They have the Faustian spirit, which all protects them from basically the realities of, modern warfare. It's the Faustian spirits that these Asiatic Orientals don't have,
Mm-hmm.
that they have.
Yeah.
So, obviously,
That's
as they would
that's what
say.
that's what all the Colette writers that I follow are telling me. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Uh,
Man.
let's see what this guy has to say. Iranian missile defense. All right, what does Sir Malcolm say? All right. Use some basic inductive reasoning here. The US is posting pictures of the same targets being blown up over and over again from different angles, such as attacks on Fokker F-27s, quite literally bombing a garbage dump, and attacks against decoys. Okay, why would they do so if they were incredibly successful? The issue with American air warfare, we already know this from previous campaigns, is that they are inherently goal-seeking. They have one metric, targets hit, and they maximize for that. It's not just that they're fooled by decoys, they are incentivized to bomb decoys. Yeah, that's correct. A lot of people don't understand that, like, the American military is not magic. It's not like, the greatest fighting force on God's green earth or whatever. Like, it's got a lot of these quirks, which you can take advantage of, right? Like the Americans are just like, they can't apply Clausewitz to the battlefield. They're just like, yeah, man, I got nukes and I got bazookas and I'm going to fucking kill you. And any second now you're going to surrender. Like they don't come onto the battlefield and think strategically. They're just like, okay, well, I got a lot of stuff. I'm gonna use all my stuff up, and then you're gonna surrender, right? Like that's literally how they quote unquote operate, right? Which is precisely what we're seeing with this so-called air campaign, right? Like, what does Hexit always say? They're like, oh, 5,000 hits, this many hits, that many hits. I'm like, okay, hits. What did you hit? Number one. Number two, did you meet your objectives, right? And number three, what's the timeline for this stuff? Like, they have no concept of these things, man. Like it's a complete fucking basket case. This entire, it's not just the
Yeah.
admin, but the entire like way of doing military stuff. It's just like, that's where things are at, right? Okay, and then what did he say?
Yeah,
Okay.
and it's a repeat of Vietnam. Like, you remember in Vietnam, they're talking about like kill counts, right? It's like, oh, we killed this many Viet Congs. They definitely don't have the strength to like do an offensive. And then, like,
Mm-hmm.
a few days after someone said that, it's like the Tet Offensive, right? It's like, as you said, they cannot apply Clausewitz, and they don't understand basically what their own. And the worst thing is Americans today don't understand, or not the Americans, but the administration don't even have a clear like strategic objective they're trying to achieve, right? And it's like It goes from no nuclear enrichment to regime change to, we don't want regime change. And then now it's like, what are they now on? Unconditional surrender?
Yeah, it's a lot of rubbish. Okay, what else?
Yeah.
Let
And
me
it's
just
like
read
all
this.
these things are conflicting with each. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's all good.
I'll
Don't worry
mute
about it.
myself. My bad.
No worries. Don't worry about it. All right. What does he say here? Okay. The idea of the American Air Force exhausting the Iranian missile stockpiles is just the least plausible scenario outlined here. If nobody knows what the plan is, the USAF, the United States Air Force, will default to what they always do, which is maximizing total number of targets hit, just like in Yemen. And just like in Yemen, the targets will be mostly useless. Exactly. Like people know how America does warfare. Like, this is the thing. It's like, you're not in 1991, you're not in 2003, you're in 2026. People know how you operate, bro. Like, this crap of like 5,000 targets, I don't know why the fuck people even take this crap seriously anymore, right? It's just a completely useless bunch, right? They seem to think that, well, okay, there's a plan here, and in any second now, Trump is gonna do the 12V chess. There's no 12V chess, bro. Like they're just making shit up as they go along. Like, even the Air Force, like, how does the Air Force operate? The Air Force operates on the metric of, okay, hits. Well, we got 10,000 hits, so obviously, since we're hitting so much, we're being successful. Oh dear. People don't believe me when I tell them this, but it's not magic, it's mathematics. These people are that retarded.
And to Sir Meow Meow's point, I think I heard a quote from a podcast I was listening to the other day about, it was a general or something saying like that the Americans won every battle in Vietnam, but still lost the war, basically. So you can be, if you don't have like a strategy that you're working towards, all your little tactics you can do are amounting to nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And I would also add that it's not just a balance of power or balance of like military equipment firepower. It's also a balance of will, resolve. Like this, in this context, what basically Iran has much more at stake and it matters much more and they're willing to pay much, much more blood and lives than the Americans because for them, America has made it existential. Whereas for America, it is not that. So you could basically inflict horrendous casualties against the Iranians and they would not flinch. Like you would have to really, really, really basically inflict pain and they would not flinch. And their pain
It's not
threshold
even
is
okay,
probably much, much
but
higher.
even that's not true. Like, even that's not true. Like okay, so maximum pain, we gotta inflict maximum pain, but like America can't, like, with the current force in theater, right? With the current,
Mm-hmm.
like, Air Force and whatever that they got in there, I don't think they're even gonna kill 10,000 people. If I'm being honest with you, they might not even reach
Oh,
5,000.
I'm not.
Yeah. They're
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that they will be able to inflict that pain. But what I'm saying is hypothetically, if you want the Iranians to surrender, like I'm talking about, like millions and millions of men and major conventional battles where more losses than Iraq. But who's going to commit to that for the Americans? And it's the same thing with all the other conflicts that America gets into that you listen to, like, oh, but the other side suffered so much casualties. I hear this when they talk about the Korean War. And yes, China did suffer a lot of deaths. But for the Chinese, for their perception, it was worth it because if they don't do this, they're going to have America right on their borders, fucking up shit, basically between the North Korean Manchurian border. And they're willing to pay that price. And this is the thing Americans don't understand. You're right. It's not just strategy, but it's also, in terms of grand strategy, like what is the primary objective? And then
they don't have one.
Is that objective worth, is that objective worth the blood and treasure we're going to spend? No one asks these questions.
They're incapable. Like they are completely, like, if you go to their military academies, right? They are incapable of thinking this way, right? Because for them, it's just like, well, look, I got so much firepower, man. I got so many means. Obviously, I'm going to get to my ends, right? Like, they don't have any goals because they're incapable of setting goals. They're incapable. Like you can go to a class, you can kind of like listen to them lecture about Clausewitz. They don't understand Clausewitz. They don't understand. They're incapable of understanding Clausewitz. And not only that,
I would.
right? Like if you explain to them that, okay, well, war is to attain political ends by other means, primarily kinetic means. So you use kinetic means. You've got a will that you want to inflict on your opponent so that he does your bidding or will or what have you. Right? Okay, but part of that involves setting goals that are reachable, right? And they never understand that, man. Like they keep doing this shit over and over again, and the only conclusion you can get after watching this over and over again inductively is that they're just a bunch of goyim, they're just a bunch of cattle, they're just a bunch of golems, they can't do independent thought, and they can't do strategic thinking. I'm sorry, man, but like that's after watching that for 20 years, that's the conclusion you get to.
They can't understand Clausewitz. They only understand Cape shit.
There we go.
Well, I would just argue that everything you said is correct, Sir Afnaf and Sir Nova Scotia. They for sure think they know Clausewitz. That's the problem. They
Oh,
think they
bro,
know,
they
and
teach
then
him.
they set
Bro,
goals.
they teach Clausewitz.
Exactly.
They teach Clausewitz in
Yeah.
the military academies, but if you actually go to like the people that are like the
But
officer corps,
yeah,
the officer corps got no fucking clue what they're doing, man. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
they set goals that are completely unsustainable and unattainable and ridiculous, and yeah, and then they kind of work backwards from there and sort of fail, and just like that was what you saw with the Iraq and Afghanistan wars. Oh, we'll build, I don't know, democracy or like a pro U.S. government in both of those countries, and then they just sat there and got IED'd for 20 years. It's just yeah,
And you know
No, it
who?
was
it's not that
they
easy to
got
basic, but
WEDs, and then it's like no WEDs, and it's like, oh, but we're going to do democracy, and then right before they said we're going to do democracy, they basically destroyed all fucking institutions in Iraq, and then it's like, oh, we just want a stable regime, and it's like, okay, you purged everyone in the Ba'ath Party, and you basically made sure everyone in the pre-existing bureaucracy is now hostile to you, the United States. Wonderful. And then it's like, oh, but we want like a coherent state. It's like, okay, but you just unleashed tribal politics that Saddam, for all his problems, was able to manage. And now it's become totally unmanageable. And it's, America does this stupid shit. It's the same thing with Vietnam. Oh, we got to defend it from the North Vietnamese. Oh, it's like, oh, this is about democracy, a little country. It's like, oh, okay, if it's that, well, when they partitioned it, they were going to have a referendum on how this country is going to be managed. And that referendum never took place because the Americans knew that, 10% Catholics were going to get outvoted by the Buddhists and by basically, the North Vietnamese to unify and become a communist regime. It's like, and all these things. So it's like they just get into one stupid war after another. And then everyone's like, oh, but like, Iraq war was terrible. And then now you have people that are saying Iraq war is terrible. It's like, oh, but we got to go to Iran. It's like the millennials, like my generation, they fucking learned nothing. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And then now they're going to inflict this on a fucking new generation.
Yes, sir.
yeah, it's almost, Sir Meow Meow, this is correct. It's almost as if there is a supremacist Western Israeli, colony in the Middle East, and they are so unpopular that they have to wage forever wars to keep the enemy at the gates, essentially forever. And despite being extremely irrational and costly, they have to keep doing it, and and that's what the U.S. is engaged in. So that's what it seems like.
That's what it seems like.
And it's like now, so I have a theory. I don't know how you guys
Yeah,
see
go
it.
ahead, man.
I think the U.S. So you guys know like hypothermia victims, right? Right before they die, like
Yeah.
hypothermia, the
Yeah,
body
Sir Malcolm
basically
was,
releases all the
yeah. Yeah, Sir Malcolm was making the point on this podcast that I was listening to. It's like right before the death, he starts going into a frenzy and takes his clothes off. Is that the example you're thinking of?
Yeah, so like it's just the body is not able to maintain the heat, right? And then the body just releases all the internal heat inside the body. So like the hypothermia victim feels like a sudden hot flash, right? So he takes off his clothes because it's like, oh my God, I'm getting really warm. It's like it feels really hot on the surface, but the problem is the internal heat in the body is just not being able to manage, so it just gets released. So then your internal core temp is like eventually dies out. And I wonder if it's not the same thing with the US, but instead of heat, just like the monopoly of violence, because a functioning state would know when to employ coercive force and when not to, and when to try to minimize and not use coercive force all the time. And now you're just seeing the US, not just internationally, but domestically with ICE, just using coercive force left and right and not being able to distinguish. And it's basically like that hypothermia victim, just like the moment before they die, the hot flash. They're just unable to regulate and manage basically when to use coercive force or military force or violence. And then that's what's happening in the US body politics. So that's my analogy.
Yeah.
I agree.
They're definitely trying to go supernova in a certain way. I think it's gonna fail for the simple reason that the mythology of unlimited American power, it's just that, it's a mythology, right? Like, once oil hits 200, 250 or some crazy number, right? You're not going to see like, oh my gosh, ground invasion. Yeah, buddy, good luck doing the logistics for a ground invasion with like oil at $200. It's not going to happen, right? Like,
Yeah, and good luck getting the rare earth to rebuild like the bases and the military equipment that you're talking about. I showed you the picture of the F-35s with the dumbbells, right?
Yeah.
With the dumbbells, because like they can't make the radars because they're short on the rare earth, so they're putting the dumbbells as like substitute weight, or not dumbbells, sorry, like the weight plates for the barbells, the plates.
Yep.
So it's like that is where we're at now, and it's like, America needs to get its priority together, but it's not, which is quite unfortunate.
I don't really consider it unfortunate. I'm just like, the fake gay sodomite, golem of the Jews, Zion Empire is being destroyed. So let it be destroyed. I don't see it as unfortunate. Like,
well, I got fond memories of the economic zone. I did my undergrads at Rutgers, so it's like, I wouldn't want to see some of my friends to suffer.
Well, I mean,
so that's
they should emigrate, my friend. Like if they don't want to live in like the dirty war central of the world, they should emigrate. Like they should not stay in a place where everyone's like, yeah, I should kill my neighbors or whatever. Like, which is what America has become. Yeah. I'm sorry, but that's what Americans want. They want to kill their neighbors. That they're hell bent on it. They're very, very bloodthirsty, right? So I don't think I'm even saying anything controversial at this point. Like if I said this, if I said this 10 years ago, everyone would get upset. They would be like, "No, if you're wrong, there are good Americans." I'm like, okay, whatever, man. Like I'll eventually be right? And like, lo and behold, 10 years later, right? And I say this, I'm like, okay, well,
you're not wrong. Like
every American is like, okay, well, the other side, right? Like you've got two modes. You've got the apathetic mode, right? People don't care about politics and any of these sort of things. And then you've got the mode where they care too much. Like the middle, the in between, that's just gone, man. Like the second mode of like, well, okay, I believe in this, and the other side is ontologically evil, therefore I must kill them. Like that's where things are at, bro. That's where things are at. So, Iran, if you're listening to this, please, please, please continue blockading the Straits of Hormuz. Destroy the desalination plants of the Gulf states, right? Make Japan and South Korea dump their bonds, and implode America for all of us. We're gonna grab the popcorn and watch the show. Do it, Iran. I know you want to.
That evil laugh, Ahnaf. That evil
laugh.
God damn it! It's not evil.
It's not evil. I'm having fun, man. I'm actually having fun.
This is more just grabbing.
Yeah.
This is just like, watching your neighbors fight over like some really, really stupid shit. Like, just like neighbors that you don't happen to like. And then it's just like grabbing popcorn. Or in China, they would say like grabbing the emoji they would use was watermelons. So you have the little watermelon guys eating little has smiley faces eating watermelons, that's the equivalent. That's the Chinese equivalent of grabbing popcorn. So,
But the issue, guys, is that not only is it your neighbors fighting each other and you don't like either of your neighbors or whatever, but also your neighbors are swinging chainsaws at each other right next to the power lines, so that light up your whole neighborhood. That's also part of the problem.
that is true, but if they get electrocuted, it would look very funny.
It's going to be extremely funny.
You got to consider that too.
It's going to be extremely funny.
Yeah,
though.
so well. It is such a fucking shit show. Like, I basically said, I think Trump is just going to be, as I said in the beginning, I think he was just going to be, constrained by the MIC, and they're probably going to Trump will probably do what the MIC wants him to do.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, he's even more retarded than that. Like, somehow this man has managed to make George W. Bush look good.
Oh, yeah.
Look good, rational, sane. Mm-hmm. George W. Bush, the worst fucking president of, supposedly the worst fucking president in my lifetime. And then now there's someone worse. And then someone said,
I have to walk something back, because I said when Trump was elected in 2016, I said that, I felt that he was smarter than George W. Bush and more effective at political infighting than Barack Obama. He may still be more effective at political infighting than Barack Obama, who just was horrible at it. But no, okay, I got to walk back on this one. Yup, George W. Bush wouldn't have done something this stupid.
I heard someone say the other day that every president is worse than the last, and that's like an iron rule.
Yeah.
So I did say this to someone. Someone said Donald Trump is the worst president of the United States. And, well, there's two ways you could respond. One is that, well, a Russian optimist would say, no, there might be someone worse coming along the lines. So that's what a Russian optimist would say. I said that would only be true if he is the last president of the United States. Mm-hmm. We don't know who's going to come, and that's maybe even worse than Donald Trump. So that's my worry. Like,
there's not going to be at the rate things are going. Trump is probably going to be the last president. I don't think there's going to be if we get to the point where this crisis even goes on for several months, that's lights out, right? This is going to be the war that ends the empire, right? But what we don't know yet is with regard to exact timelines, right? It's possible that they have a election, quote unquote, in 2028, right? And they elect someone, right? Perhaps that's possible. But if it's like, okay, well, oil goes to 200, then 300, then 500, right? That's lights out, man, right? Like at that point, if you're at those prices, sell the house, sell the kidneys, sell the stocks, sell the bonds, get the gas, get the oil, get the food, right? That's basically the situation a lot of these guys are going to be in, right? Like South Korea, what was it? South Korea only had like 8 or 9 days of LNG left, right? When Iran announced the blockade of the Straits, right? Like, okay, man, I mean, what do you expect these guys to do? Well enough, they're a bunch of vassals, so obviously when the shogun, Donald John Trump of America, says you need to now sacrifice yourself, right? They're going to do it, right? Okay, but you're saying they're going to do that, but simultaneously you're telling me that they're just a bunch of corrupt, craven politicians who only look out for their own interests and all they care about is the bottom line and money and this. Okay, but these two things are contradictory, right? These two things are contradictory. You can't simultaneously be one and the other at the same time. You got to pick one, right? And I tend to think it's going to be the second one, which is that they're a bunch of craven cowards, corrupt, politician types, liking money and their own neck and this and that thing. And so they'll act that way, man. They'll just be like, okay, sorry, boss, but between you and me, I gotta choose myself, right? Because I wanna enjoy all my black money that I earned over the last few years, and I wanna do all this other stuff. So that means I gotta liquidate your bones.
Yeah, I mean they're letting all their allies blow in the wind except for Israel, so why wouldn't? Yeah, it's going to be pretty bleak for South Korea. Maybe we might see reunification coming out of this.
The reunification of North and South Korea.
Oh, I think the alliance system in South Korea is gone because, South Korea is like, I think I sent this in the Telegram chat. Like, they sacrificed a lot to put those THAAD missiles in South Korea. When they did that, it really pissed the Chinese off. And the Chinese is like, look, that's not going to help you defend yourself from, North Korean missiles. That's directly aimed at us. And, to weaken our nuclear deterrence against the U.S. And
Yeah.
South Korea said, we're still going to do it. And they did it. And then one of the supermarket, I think it was Lotte, most of their supermarkets in China got shut down. They got kicked out. Hyundai took like a huge beating in China. Like today, Hyundai's factory, there's no Hyundai, like Hyundai sells very, very little cars. Like their sales completely collapsed from like 2016 to like 2020. They took a huge economic beating in China. China canceled the tours. And then now with Israel, with Epstein's pal in trouble, the Americans are just like, yeah, we're just going to move that THAAD battery that you sacrificed so much for to be placed here. We're just going to move it straight to Israel. Like, how the fuck do you think people in Korea is going to feel? And the Koreans now, after the Ukraine war, it's like they kind of realize, oh, the Americans aren't really there to protect us. They're there so they can use us to fight a proxy war with China, our largest trading partner. So it's not inconceivable that, like, within 2 years, this alliance with South Korea, it's just going to get poofed. In South
Can I
Korea, at
ask a
least.
follow-up question, really fast? So we all know that Japan just elected the new prime minister lady, who's all like, gushy over Trump and whatever. But what is the political dynamic in Japan where like they're like, will that change? Is there a possibility for that to change?
I have
Or
no idea. I do not know
okay,
domestic Japanese politics, so you would
fair
have
enough.
to ask an expert there. But I can tell you from Chinese politics, like the Chinese, in terms of foreign policy, are very rational, except with one country, and that's Japan, because of the Second World War. So like
Oh yeah,
they will give a lot of, they'll give a lot of leeways to most countries. Hell, they gave a lot of leeway to Canada, like the Mao Wanzhou stuff, and then now they're normalizing. But with Japan, they basically crossed two red lines. One is basically the Second World War statements, the Second World War, or basically her statement about Taiwan being a strategic interest of Japan crosses two red lines for China. One, which is going back on basically reneging on the settlement of the Second World War, which, Taiwan was a colony of Japan, and then it was seceded back to basically the Republic of China. And the PRC, the People's Republic of China, they would say they're the successor state of the Republic of China. So that's the first thing. Second thing is it just brings back a lot of memories of Imperial Japan, because Japan in the past, when they said, Taiwan is a strategic importance for Japan, and then that cascades into the Marco Polo Bridge incident. So that's how the Chinese see it. And unless she completely walks that back, there's going to be more shittier and shittier relations. Like the Chinese will not give leeway, and they will not have the time of day and tolerance for the type of shenanigans that bitch wants to pull. In terms of like that's something I don't think the Japanese nationalists understand. Like the Chinese would give a lot of leeway, but not towards Japan, not towards them, and not towards this issue.
Yeah.
So, but in terms of
Well,
domestic
thanks for that.
politics, how the Japanese would go, that I don't know. You would have to ask like a Japanese expert. I don't know enough about Japan on that.
Dum-de-dum-de-dum. Combined drone and missile attack underway against American interests in the UAE. Okay, so Abu Dhabi and Dubai are getting hit again. Brother Naji, what should be done to Dubai?
Brother, there should be. Let's see. What fate shall I decide for Dubai?
For Dubai, yeah.
I think Iran should focus all of its drones and missiles. Personally, the smart thing, in my opinion, would be to go after like the Strato tankers in Israel and Jordan, and they probably are doing that. But
Yeah, they're doing
if
that. Yeah.
if my little kid evil side comes out, I would say I hope that Dubai gets essentially eviscerated off the face of the earth, and that Fire and fury is
Dubai,
brought down on their heads.
Dubai is like, and people are gonna, dislike what I'm about to say, but Dubai is basically a modern day slave colony. Like,
Oh, dude, if America's the great Satan and Israel is the little Satan, Dubai is the baby Satan. Okay,
yeah, yeah.
like they are. They've been funding. They've been doing all kinds of defense contracts, intel exchanges with Israel. They've been funding fucking genocidal war in Sudan. They've been destroying Yemen. They've been, the list goes on and on, guys. Like these people are
Basically a modern
psychotic.
Judas. Modern
Yeah, they're a
Judas.
modern Judas. Yeah,
Mm.
exactly.
Seeking the 30
Exactly.
pieces of silver. Was it 30
Right.
pieces or I forgot.
30
But,
pieces. Okay.
Silver.
Indica.
30 of
All right.
silver.
Indica has a very, very good comment. Let me actually read this. Indica. The radars and bases that America is losing to Iranian missiles and drones are not worth billions of dollars. Rather, they are priceless. America cannot get the rare earths, nor can they manufacture anything anymore. They will never replace this hardware. These assets are just lost. Iran is therefore decolonizing the region. All right, so Dubai is going to get decolonized. So the Bengalis, the Pakistanis, and the Indians, they got to go home, man.
Yeah, why
No,
don't they
we're,
just stay and take over? They could just stay and
no,
take over.
yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that's
stay and
always
take
an
over.
option.
All right.
Yeah, isn't that sort of like the Mamelukes in Egypt? Like basically,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
they just do what the Mamelukes do. Like, give them citizenship. They're 80% of the population. They'll all vote the Dubai minorities. And then basically then all of a sudden, yeah, you have basically little Bangladesh in the UAE. That
Yeah.
or
Nice.
you could, would you move there if that happened, Arnav?
Oh no! Oh, you're talking to me.
Yeah.
I have very, very negative things to say about Dubai. When I was when I
Yeah,
was younger,
but now your people are in charge. Your people are in charge, and they're the majority, and they hold the political and economic power.
Honestly, man, I would have to look at what the fishing stocks are like. I'm like, are the fish here good to eat? If that's the case, then sure, I can consider it. But
Wait, so you're like a fan of seafood?
Yeah, that's all we eat, man. My part of the world.
That's all
Okay, well, you
Bengalis
got
eat, bro.
Yeah.
If that's the case, you got to come up
If the
to
fish
my
is
place
crap,
in China.
all right, I definitely will take you up on that offer, bro. But
Yeah, come to Dalian, China. Come to Dalian, China.
That's a very
It's
nice
like
Damn. You're in Dalian?
yeah,
Dalian,
That's
China.
awesome.
yeah.
So technically, we're sort of like the equivalent of, I guess, Pittsburgh. Like, I'm in the Chinese Rust
It
Belt.
used to be during the Qing dynasty. I think that place was given to the Germans or one of these guys, right? And now
Oh no, you're thinking of Qingdao.
Oh,
You're thinking of Qingdao.
And
Dalian was given to the Russians, Port Arthur. So it was Port Arthur.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
and then the Japanese took it over. But you're thinking of Qingdao, which is actually also a very nice city, and you can get authentic Chinese beer in Qingdao, and that brewery was started by the Germans. And they also have great seafood, but Dalian has great seafood too. And our Rust Belts are not that bad. They're pretty nice to live in, the Rust Belts in Dalian. Like, it's not as developed as Shanghai or anything, but you don't get all the gay LED lights, but you still get modern amenities in Dalian.
Sir Meow Meow, you may catch me over there with these softening relations between China and Canada. I no longer need a visitor visa to come.
Oh yeah, 30 days.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Damn.
30 days.
Wait, are you serious, man? You can go to China for 30 days.
30 days.
So if they implemented this, and I'll be honest, if you don't demand to live in 5-star hotels, your most expensive, the most expensive part of your trip is probably going to be the transportation costs. So the plane tickets and the train tickets. You could get a decent 2.5 to 3-star hotel where I am. Let me see. It's 150, 200 RMB. So that's 30 to 40 Canadian a night. And you'll get a very nice hotel in Dalian.
I pay $130 Canadian for that here.
Oh,
damn.
So yeah, and then food here, I had a full Peking duck, just course with my buddies, in the afternoon, and that was about $50 Canadian. So a full course with a friend, 3 side dishes and one whole Peking duck. So like in Canada, that would probably run me about 200 Canadian, like 1,000
Oh
RMB.
yeah,
And here is
for sure.
so. It's just if you come to China, don't eat cheese because cheese, like the price is the same. Like we import our cheese. Like Chinese people are not
I see.
like in terms of food, Chinese desserts are not very good. Like the compliment in China they would give for desserts is it is not too sweet, and that is a compliment. So Chinese desserts are not very good. Like people like eating mooncake, but that's because they only eat it once a year. If they ate it every day, they would not want to eat mooncake. That's my theory.
Yeah, I'm sure that the rate of diabetes is probably much lower there as well than it is here.
Well, it's increasing. It's increasing with modern food security and with increasing food security and people eating well off than before and eating more meat. So it is increasing. But yeah, like come visit China. It's a big place, lots of different places. If you're into gay stuff, you could go to Chengdu, China. That's also where the pandas are. If you're into tech, there's like Hangzhou. Yeah.
I want to eat some Lanzhou or however you pronounce it, noodle soup.
Oh, Lanzhou. Yeah, that's sort of like, let me see. Lanzhou, that's like near Xinjiang and then Chengdu or like Sichuan. So you're talking about Lanzhou, like the province. And that's like, but you could get that in like, the Muslim regions of China, the Hui Muslims. They basically have a lot of meat and stuff. So that's basically China in a nutshell. I'm just happy not to be in the States. I was sorry for the tangent.
It's all good. It's all good, bro. It's all good. These things happen. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. All right, now going back to topic because the podcast is a topic. What is this guy? Oh, Alistair Crook. Alistair Crook says to Chris Hedges in an interview, quote, the Gulf ability, right? So he's talking about the GCC countries to intercept even the slow-moving Iranian drones is now almost zero. Iranian drones are flying uncontested and freely over Doha and Dubai. So they, namely the Iranians, are using these drones and missiles to take out the eyes of the United States, namely the radar systems, and now they have de facto air superiority over the Gulf. Good news, Sir Kenaz. The global economy is going to collapse. How do you feel?
Well, I feel like I'm not looking forward to it, but the system we have has rotted to a point where really the only option left is to tear it down and start from scratch.
Oh, dear. People are now making angry comments about why doesn't America just go up there into the Gulf and just start sinking Iranian ships. I mean, folks, you should try it out, see what happens. Just letting you know. Right.
I think what Sir Knez just said is one of the most actual positive American values. Every so often you need to tear it all down, even if it's just your think. I think that was Jefferson. I think I said this before on the podcast. Like Jefferson said, you got to change your thinking, right?
Mm-hmm.
The tree of liberty needs to be watered with blood every once in a while.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Or from a Chinese perspective, the average Chinese dynasty lasts about 250 years. By about 250 years, you get a lot of problems. And then America's just in the dynastic cycle. It's on the collapse. And then hopefully within like 40, 50, 40, 30 years, you'll have a new America, a new, vibrant America that emerges out of this. But, the ashes do have to come first. I'm not saying it will. I'm saying that's the hopefully.
There's probably going to be 10, there's going to be 10 or 12, like there's going to be 10, 12, 15 countries. A couple of them will be wealthy and have good living standards. Most of the other ones will be dirt poor, right? Like they'll be like agricultural communes or whatever, right? But that's where things are headed. Okay, I just saw this thing. Okay, so Pole Lady. As soon as the Iranian leadership announced, and I think she's talking about the president, Mahmoud Pezeshkian. By the way, this is not what he announced. He meant it towards Azerbaijan and Turkey. He wasn't talking about the other guys, okay? no strikes on Gulf countries, the US began bombing Iran's desalination plants. So you know what retaliation is likely to come next. At this point, even the Iranian leadership may not be able to stop it. IRGC presently is completely decentralized thanks to its mosaic defense, with numerous fully autonomous units which do not require decision making from Tehran. Yeah, Sir Ken, as the global economy is going to collapse, get ready, right? Because
Yeah, it's
once
like
you get, yeah,
there's nothing. There was never going to be any other option.
yeah,
There was never going to be any other option because we have debts that can't be paid. I
mm-hmm.
mean, not just America, like how much of the world economy is running on debts, how much of the world economy consists of derivatives of derivatives of derivatives.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's the whole system was falling down. It's got to fall. I mean, there's no more. We've spent a couple decades trying to prop it up, with chewing gum and
Yeah.
And a little neocon adventurism. Yeah.
yeah.
Gregory Brew 54 minutes ago. Arakchi, the foreign minister of Iran, says the United States bombing of the desalination plant at Qashem now sets a precedent that Iran can follow for striking desalination plants. The GCC, so he's talking about the Gulf countries, is heavily dependent on desalination for addressing local water needs. Yeah, so they're going to hit desalination. The average human being can last at most 3 days without water. Arabian Peninsula is very hot and humid, so you can say 2-3 days maximum, right? And after that, they're just gonna cry uncle and surrender, because at that point they've got no water supply. I mean, good luck, Oh, enough. The Arabs are cocked or whatever. Like, buddy, it doesn't matter. Take away food, take away water, everyone revolts. There's no exception to the rule, right? So that's what's gonna happen here now, right? I expect the Iranians to use their drones and their missiles to hit desalination, right? And I know people dislike it when I say it, right? But I said it on the Telegram chat. But I expect the next leg of escalation beyond desalination plants would be aerosols, right? Aerosols are just like a nice way of saying, euphemistic way of saying biological and chemical weapons of mass destruction, right? So you take away the water supply, and after that, you use those things. And don't worry, guys, only 6 dead Americans. It's not going to be only 6 dead Americans. Let me put it to you that way. Once the big guns come out with regard to these things, right? But that's where things are at, folks. All of this was chosen.
Here's
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Here's one breaking news. Well, not breaking, but something that's interesting to note. U.S. Treasury Secretary Bessent says the U.S. might unsanction Russian crude oil. That was from Sir Carolina Lyon reporting the Kobesi letter.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting because if you unsanction Russia, then Russia will become extremely powerful. Like, is that not insane? I don't.
Russia will get
Yeah,
an
except
enormous inflow of money from selling their oil at these higher prices, and they can use that to finish off Ukraine. So there you go. One
and
proxy war
the
against Russia, you get defeated, and the other proxy war that you started with Iran, Russia can now start funding it. There we go.
Damn.
and the thing was the Russians were trolling the Europeans because you know how the Europeans passed legislation saying they're going to wean themselves off of Russian oil in 2027, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
after the crisis, Putin was like, well, they're already going to end importing our oil in 2027, so why don't we just end importing to Europe? Like, this was after the Strait was closed. It's like, we're just going to end it now, so we don't have to deal with it next year. Let's just deal with this problem this year, and we're just not going to export Europe oil and LNG into Europe. And the Europeans are like, oh, but like, blah, 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 you should and now they're begging Ukraine to open this stuff. And then they're begging Russia to send the oil and LNG, and Russia's like, you're the ones that blew up your own, like, Nord Stream 2. We're not we don't want anything to do with you guys anymore. So it's very funny to watch what's happening in Europe.
Yeah. Putin was like, well, maybe we, they're talking about weaning themselves off. Maybe we just step away from that market before they do so. see how they like it. So
There we
yeah,
go.
very funny.
Sir Kenaz, are you winning yet? Are you tired of winning yet?
Well, I'm tired of winning because we've been winning now this whole second term, and between we had the tariffs, then we had let's take over Greenland. Now we've actually accomplished starting a major war.
Lovely.
I mean, a
South,
major war. What? Go ahead, Sarana.
no worries. South Korea sending, get ready for this, 30 anti-ballistic missile interceptors to the UAE tomorrow. By the way, America has unlimited weapons. Pete Hegseth said so. America can fight forever. But the fucking vassal South Korea has to send over 30 interceptors. Because don't worry, guys, we have unlimited interceptors.
I just keep hearing that Kissinger quote in my head that, what is it? It's dangerous to be an enemy of America, but it's fatal to be a friend.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
To be
But
an
Sir Kenas,
ally,
go ahead.
yeah.
You are making a point with regard to something, and I cut you off with regard to, like, you were talking about major wars and stuff.
Hello?
Oh, yeah. Sir
No.
Kenas, you
Yeah.
were
No.
making a point, I was saying. Yeah.
Well, major wars at this point, we're talking about the possibility Saudi Arabia may well jump into this conflict. Turkey may jump into this conflict. On the other side, we're arming Kurds. I mean, he's not just content with starting a war with Iran. This could become a literal world war.
That's the next step.
That's like, okay, at which point it'll be like, all right, I kneel before you. I thought you had hit your peak of stupidity. You just sat down in a lawn chair, covered it with helium balloons, and sailed off into the stratosphere of stupid.
Oh, yeah.
Look, there is a Russian joke. There is a Russian joke. So the Russian pessimist said this is really, really bad, but this is the worst that it's going to be. And then the Russian optimist said, no, my friend, it can get way worse. And I hope that's not the case, but with Trump, it's like everything I thought, my bottom has been cratering nonstop. I thought the dumbest thing he would do was probably the tariffs, and then he goes beyond that. Like in terms of the reindustrialization. Oh, now America's not actually even industrializing. Oh, they're now actually shooting Americans with ice. And then, now it's basically war with Iran. So it's like, it's a new low. And it's just like a new low every fucking month. And this is year 2 of the administration.
Oh, this is nothing, man. You ain't seen nothing yet. Okay. All right. Russians with
You ain't
attitude.
seen nothing yet.
Yeah. Okay. Russians with attitude. Okay. Kuwait, UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, and Israel are all heavily dependent on desalination. Inviting retaliation against all of these guys is really not a smart move. If the United States goes after Iranian waters, Tehran literally has a, quote, instant humanitarian catastrophe across the region button that they can press. Lovely. Sir Kenaz, Iran will be defeated by September, don't worry.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm just burning out. It's like, okay, surely it can't get dumber than this.
Yes, it can.
And it just keeps getting dumber.
Here's my issue is that when you look at the irrationality of the messianic Kahanists in Israel and their stooges like Huckabee and Pete Hegseth and Kushner and what have you, like, are they actually trying to create some kind of a eschatological condition of like Armageddon? Because I know that sounds insane to say out loud, but when you look at what's happening,
If they're trying to, man, they're fucking failing at it. That's the thing. Right? If they actually wanted to, like the Air Force would be much bigger, the ground forces would be much bigger. There would be like 2 million troops on Iranian borders. I'm sorry, man, but I can't look at this military contingent and take this seriously. Like, you're using like less than 600 jets against fucking Iran. Are you serious, man? No, he's not going for Armageddon, man. He's just gonna see his golem America get its butt cheeks clapped, man. That's what's gonna happen, right? Like, if this were like a serious conflict, okay, let's get all the Goyim Americans here, wave the magic wand, 10 million Americans have shown up, invade Iran, kill everyone. Like, that's not what we're seeing. There's no ground force. The Air Force is a fucking joke. There's no ammo left. The fucking Navy is like, whatever. It's like several hundred kilometers away. A third carrier battle group is showing up. Maybe it'll show up, in which case the one of the other guys will rotate out, right? Maybe it doesn't show up, right? But okay, let's say it shows up. Let's say there's 3 of them. Okay, so now you got a few more interceptors. Hooray, good for you, man, right? This is not a fighting force, man. Like, this is less serious than 1991. This is less serious than 2003. This is nothing. This is like, neither nation nor empire, just detritus. That's what this is, man. That's what America is, right? Like, I'm like the neighborhood pessimist, right? I really dislike optimist takes, but like, whenever I hear pessimist takes, and like, I tell my fellow pessimists, my friend, what are you talking about, bro? Like, there's no military contingent, man. Like the Americans are not gonna fight this for 10 years. They're not gonna fight it for 5 years. You know, I don't even think they're gonna go for 1 year, unless again they move equipment in. But that's where things are at, man. What are we at now? What are we at? Bosch Karma. It is not enough to kill the body of Qatar. We have to kill its. I love this quote. Okay, Sir Malcolm says, quote, "It is not enough to kill the body of Qatar. We have to kill its soul as well." Okay, breaking news from Arya 19 minutes ago. Iranian missile attack on U.S. assets in Doha, Qatar. Explosions and local time. No sirens go off because the radars are fucked. Oh my god, man. It is just like shit show after shit show. Another 1,000 drones to Qatar, Dubai.
This is from Zero Hedge about an hour ago.
Yeah.
We may go to a 1.5 trillion in military budget.
Where's he getting the money, man? Where's he getting the money?
Yeah.
There's no
We're going to
money.
be paying 7% interest rates on 10-year.
Yeah.
If we do that.
7%. Try like 20%. In the 80s,
Yeah.
they were paying like, what, 20%?
If you're at 20% in 2026, America simply defaults on the debt. It cannot do 20% right now.
So what happens if America defaults on its debt? Like honest question. I only have a minor in economics. I haven't,
Chaos, pandemonium, and all kinds of other fun stuff happen.
So I would respectfully disagree. I don't think America could default on its debt for this reason, because the loans are not taken out in currency that's not American, right? So when you look at sovereign defaults like Argentina, it's because their loans are not denominated in like the Argentinian peso? Their loans are denominated in dollars. The U.S. can't have, so technically the U.S. can't, on a technical level, can't default. You're just going to get like crazy inflation, like Weimar Republic inflation, like, barrels and barrels of USD to like buy coffee.
Okay. Inflation and deflation are not discontinuities. The two are related in the following way, right? If you have inflation and hyperinflation, right? So, okay, well, I can't buy a can of Coke unless I pay you like $1 gorillion, right? Well, at that point, that's currency failure, right? That's currency failure. And what that means is you need to have quote unquote deflation, but in terms of something else, like a new currency or whatnot, right? So at that point, if it is currency failure, right, you have to say that America is unable to meet its obligations, which is a de facto default, right? That's what it means. For a person to default, what does it mean? It means the person or the company or the country or whatever is unable to meet its obligations, which is exactly where America is headed. Like, what's happening right now is that the GCC countries, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Dubai, whatever, right? These guys are getting their ass handed to them by Iran, right? They're not able to export their oil and gas to global markets, right? And the outflows are cut off and the inflows are also cut off. Food, water, this, that, and the other thing, right? Once Iran cuts off desalination and it uses aerosols to maximize the damage, right? These guys will cry for uncle, right? And what's going to have to happen is the Americans are going to be forced to leave by these guys. When that happens, whether it's like South Korea, Japan, or whatever, Iran is not gonna let go of the Straits. Iran's just gonna hold on, and then South Korea, Japan, and these other guys, they're gonna be like, okay, oil is this much now. I need to live and save myself and buy food and water. Okay, I need to liquidate my bonds, right? Every time the bonds get liquidated, where do the dollars go? The dollars go back to, send back to sender. Send back to sender. Who's the sender? America. All right. It all goes back to America, and you're correct. Hyperinflation. But again, hyperinflation and deflation are not discontinuities, right? Now you get a situation where, like, you get currency failure, right? Which is like, basically.
So it essentially
Yes.
it's going to cost more for less stuff at the same time.
It's going to cost a gorillion more for barely anything. If you go to
Yes,
Zimbabwe, for
understood.
example, if you go to Zimbabwe, right?
Yep.
If you go to Zimbabwe, right? Like when they were having their thing, right? Eventually, people just started bartering, or they started using other currencies and shit, right? It's the same thing's gonna happen in America. Americans are gonna barter, or they're gonna use, like, I don't know, fucking Chinese yuan or something to buy stuff or whatever. Currency failure. We're looking at currency failure, right? That's what we're looking at. And when it happened, it's a question of when, not if, right? There goes America. Because, like, okay, well, Americans are a bunch of goyim, they're just a bunch of Zok cattle, they're never going to revolt. Well, take away their food and water, take away 25, 30, 35% of their standards of living within a period of a few months, and you will get something far worse than the Soviet implosion. You will get, like, Americans shooting one another for sport, for fun, and for, like, oh, well, we still matter, we still count, it's gonna be boorish violence and purity spirals, right? Like when the Soviets collapsed and everyone was like, oh my gosh, a civil war is about to break out. Well, you're actually gonna have that happen this time. So there you go. And by the way, the entire nuclear arsenal of the United States, it's not going to be secured. It's going to go onto the black market, and everyone's like, the thing is, people think, oh, enough. So are you telling me that America's not going to start World War III and the nukes are not going to fly and 800 million to 2 billion people are not going to die? Enough. You're an optimist. I'm like, no, man. My timeline is actually worse than yours, because in my timeline, America dies brutally to multiple waves of dirty wars. The nuclear arsenal is sold on the black market. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry sub-state actor gets its hands on it, right? The NPT is dead, and multiple waves of dirty wars and world wars begin. And this happens over the next several decades through the long 21st century. And 800 million to 2 billion, that's rookie numbers, man. You get 6 billion to 8 billion dead. That's what you get, right? So welcome to the future. Or I guess welcome to the 21st century. That's what I would say.
Fantastic. I love it.
You love it? All right. I'm writing something for new maps. It's a fiction journal, and they take submissions for, like, a deindustrial fiction. So I'm, like, writing about a world in which these things have already happened, and what does that world look like? So, fun times, but that's kind of unrelated to the topic. With that being said, I just realized something. We've almost gone for 3 hours. Ay. Long episode. But yeah, no, like, I think Sir Malcolm had something else to do today. He did say that he's gonna try and show up for tomorrow's show. Sir Cleveland was supposed to have shown up for today. I don't know what happened in his case. But anyhow, maybe he got busy as well. But that's fine. We had a pretty decent show anyhow with the 3 hours. This was the Third Gulf War, Week 1, Part 1. Tomorrow is going to be Third Gulf War, Week 1, Part 2. With that being said, Thank you, gents, for showing up. Appreciate it immensely. And Sir Kenaz, my lovely co-host, shall now impart his words of wisdom to all who have attended.
Well, I usually say the doom cometh, but it's kind of looking like the doom hath arrived. Take
The
care,
doom
all, and
hath
be
arrived.
careful.
The doom hath arrived. Thank you, Sir Kenaz. Thank you, folks. And yeah, crazy world out there. Stay safe and don't get nuked. See ya.
Your soul is mine. No!